cauldron that is the Den for the final FA Cup quarter-final tie between Millwall, who have knocked out Everton, you may remember in an earlier match covered by the JB Correct YouTube channel, and Brighton and Hove Albion bidding to reach the semi-finals for the first time since they got to the final in 1983, where they actually played Sheffield Wednesday at Highbury and won by 2-1. And they were also relegated that season, you may remember, Brighton. Millwall looking to reach their second semi-final in 6 years. They got to the semis in 2013 before Wigan sawned them off at Wembley. But at the new Den, they are an absolute class above, and they'll be coming out to the tones of Max Bygraves, who was a great Millwall fan for many years. But they are struggling in the Championship though, Millwall. They are a couple of places above that drop zone. The crowd are filling up here. 43 miles they've had to travel just outside London. It's Bermondsey. And let's hear from some of the protagonists, including the Brighton and Hove Albion manager, Chris Hughton.
Given that this is the second time in 2 years that you're here, how much excitement is there around the squad? How much do you want to be at Wembley in the next round?
Well, excitement's there, and we know exactly what it means to not only to the club but this group of players. You know, the FA Cup semi-final is a competition that there are an awful lot of very, very good players that never get that opportunity to get there. So we know how big today is, and we'll certainly give everything that we can to try and get to the semi-finals.
You went to check out Millwall midweek in Birmingham as well, their victory over there. But of course this is a place that you know very well. In terms of this being an intimidating atmosphere, is this sort of almost something where you come here with no fear because your players, many of them, are used to this?
We're used to it, and of course we've played in the Championship for many years and have been here. So certainly we know what the atmosphere is about here. It's an FA Cup tie. You know, we will have to treat this no different to what we treated our visit to Crystal Palace last week. It is an intimidating place, and if you are not prepared for it and if you don't perform at your best, there are lesser sides than Millwall that have beaten us and have beaten bigger clubs. So we need to be prepared properly for it.
Yes, and well said, Chris Hughton there, because it is important really that Brighton make a decent start, but at the same token, I honestly feel that this could be a real opportunity for Millwall. They're unbeaten in 11 games, Brighton, against Millwall in all competitions, but that really does count for nothing in the FA Cup. It's a coldish day here for this intriguing quarter-final. Already in the hat, you may recall, Watford, they won yesterday. Man City, which I commentated on. Glenn Murray, in fact, just a little stat for you there before we carry on. He scored in his last 5 FA Cup games, all as substitute, and scored a goal of real genius last week in that M23 derby match against Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Of course, Brighton got through after extra time in that 4th round replay at West Bromwich Albion, which got them there, and then they won against Derby in the 5th round, and of course they knocked out Bournemouth in the 3rd. And we've already spoken about Millwall's scalp against Everton. I remember commentating that Saturday night in the 4th round, and what an atmosphere that was. And the Millwall fans are right behind their team. They are a passionate set of supporters, but Brighton are there too. They're not going to be there to make up any numbers. It's a sellout at the new Den. The teams are just about to come out of the dressing rooms and into the tunnel area. In fact, they are in the tunnel area, and there's a little placard above saying this is the Lions' Den. Will Brighton be fed to the Lions today? Will Millwall get to Wembley, or will Brighton's Premier League quality shine through? There have been bigger teams than Brighton this season that have fallen foul in the FA Cup here and have fallen to real shocks, and Millwall are certainly a team of battlers. They won in the week at Birmingham, so they know exactly full well the task at hand. Chris Hughton went to see that game and he was impressed by the way Millwall played. So the teams are ready to come out into this cauldron of a great atmosphere, stummed up by the fact that Max Bygraves will be singing the famous song in the background about the team. A fantastic atmosphere, and really the Millwall fans will be up for this one, I'm sure. The romance of the Cup is certainly alive and kicking this weekend. We'll also keep you up to date with events in the Premier League, again involving Fulham and Liverpool, who are still going for the league title. They could go top of the league as we speak, so we'll keep you updated with what's happening in the Premier League at Craven Cottage. With this FA Cup action all the way here on the JB Claret YouTube channel, and we're at Cold Blow Lane, and what a game it could well be. Will the Millwall fans be singing down the old Cold Blow Lane this evening? Well, we'll have to wait and find out. And also, the draw for the semi-finals will be coming up straight after this match, so stay tuned for that. It's a day that the young supporters, young and old, of both sides, really enjoy. And Chris Kavanagh, the referee from Manchester. Sean Massey is one of the assistants today. And the Millwall fans really up for this one. And this is really what the FA Cup is all about. Proper fans, passionate about their team and really going about their business. But anyway, let's take a check on the two sides. Starting with Millwall, with Martin in place of Jordan Archer in goal. So he comes in. Romeo, Pearce, Cooper and Ferguson are the back four. Romeo will be the right winger and Ferguson the left, with Pearce and Cooper the two centre backs. Then it's a five-man midfield with Wallace, Tunnicliffe, Williams, who will play as the anchor man in midfield, Leonard and O'Brien, who will play on the left. Wallace will play on the right, incidentally. Tunnicliffe and Leonard will be the further forward attacking central midfielders, and Lee Gregory has recovered from that injury and will start today up front. On the bench, Amos, the goalkeeper, McLaughlin, Meredith, Hutchinson, Elliott, Morrison and Skalak. No place for anyway, here's Brighton with their team, with Ryan in goal, Montoya, Duffy, Duncan, Bernardo, the usual back four. Kyle, Stevens and Proper are the three-man midfield, and it looks as if they're going to go free in attack as well. With Knockaert on the right, Jakob on the left, and Glenn Murray further forward. On the bench for Brighton, Button, Bruno, Bong, Locadia, Izagero, Solly March and Byrne. The referee is Chris Kavanagh from Greater Manchester. And what an atmosphere it promises to be. A couple of key players missing for Millwall today, as I said. Chris Kavanagh just conducted the coin toss. Just to remind you of colours, in case you're not watching this on television or listening to the commentary along with the television coverage. Millwall are in the dark blue shirts, white shorts, and Brighton are in their change shirts of fluorescent yellow. So no kick clash, no problems there, as Neil Harris, a real legend in these parts, survived the cancer scare some dozen years ago and has really done a magnificent job. No money, no finances, and they've done a magnificent job. Millwall, incidentally, their socks are dark blue as well. And as I say, Brighton all in yellow, and Millwall will get us underway. This final quarter-final, it's got to be decided today, neither through 90 minutes, extra time or penalties. Millwall will tap the goal to our left in the first half, where the Brighton fans are congregated behind. And the whole atmosphere is absolutely electric as Chris Kavanagh checks his watch, checks with his two assistants, and prepares to get this very intriguing final quarter-final of the FA Cup, sponsored by Emirates. Away we go, and it's Millwall attacking from left to right as the ball is pumped forward towards the far side. And this really will be a real test, really, of Brighton's resolve. Remember, bigger teams have come here in the past. Leicester a couple of years ago when they were league champions, losing 1-0, remember, as the ball is threaded in, and away it goes again. Millwall have kept on side there. Sean Massey telling the kept a flag down there. And we've had 30 seconds of Millwall straight away going for the cutthroat at the start of the first half. But here's Glenn Murray now for Brighton, trying to play the ball forward, or play the ball back rather, and then it's sucked out. It will be a Brighton throw-in. That's the man Brighton have to watch by Hawks. I'm just seeing on our monitor, Lee Gregory, number 9. real powerhouse of a striker. As I say, two big players missing for Millwall, but no Jordan Archer, so Martin has to go in goal. Ben Amos is the substitute goalkeeper, and Brighton in fact have conceded a goal kick. They wanted a corner. Glenn Murray making that point vehemently clear to the assistant on the near side. Well, it's always tense when there's a place at Wembley in the semi-finals, although I'm still a great believer in it being played at a neutral ground. There is Neil Harris. He's been a stalwart, a player, manager. He's done a fantastic job here at the New Den. If he keeps Millwall up on the budget he has, probably the third lowest budget in the Championship, he will have done a sterling job. And you know, he is a proper Millwall man through and through, and that can never be understated, really. As Pearce went up for the high ball, now Wallace to get in forward down the far side, looking to get Tunnicliffe on his way on that far side, but well read. Lewis Dunk did really well there, the Brighton centre back. We covered Brighton when they were beaten soundly by Burnley some 4 or 5 weeks ago in the Premier League, and they looked aside devoid of any ideas. They have had some good results now. They won at Palace last week and won very convincingly, so they're no mugs, Brighton. But Nero and Millwall, by the way, here's Ferguson on the left hand side. He cut in field for a second or two and then had to play the ball back. Now number 28 Lennon has it for Millwall. Remember, we were covering that one of the great cup moments we've had on the channel came at Millwall, and they might have another great cup moment here as they go in behind. Comes to Gregory inside the penalty area. Good running again, and the shot comes in and wide by Wallace with his right foot just to the right of the area. What a good start for Millwall. 3 minutes gone, and they're really laying siege to the Brighton goal already. And Brighton know they're going to be in a cup game this afternoon. Lovely run in, the ball comes back. Wallace did really well, Gregory did really well to hook that back, and in the end Wallace just hitting that shot wide of the target, but it was a good effort, and just what it was. And yeah, it was a fantastic effort. So wide it went. And remember, we'll keep you up to date with what's happening at Craven Cottage. Liverpool in action in the Premier League. Also, Bottas has won the Australian Grand Prix earlier on. If you were watching that earlier this morning, that was done there. And great atmosphere here. Fantastic performance here. Millwall, the last lowest ranked team still left in the FA Cup competition. And this really is terrific. There's a terrific atmosphere building around this famous old, well, I say famous old ground. It's a new ground. It's only 20 years old. And this is a big performance needed by Millwall this afternoon as the ball comes forward. This could be a tough test really for Brighton's capabilities. It went behind for a goal kick. Brighton have put out their strongest side. That's Lee Gregory and Leonard, who's a fantastic player himself, played a huge part in both players played a huge part in the victory. You may remember against Everton in the fourth round, where they were absolutely superb to a man. All 11 Millwall players out there today. You can have your say. We have the comment section open for business if you'd like to comment as Wallace, or rather Gregory, goes off in pursuit and fouls his man on the far side. It was Lewis Dunkey fouled, and a free kick to Brighton and Hove Albion with 5 minutes gone. Crazy Peter Gemmon says hello. Hi there to you. To just see the replay of Gregory there, just having a little push there on Lewis Dunk there at Brighton. Should be an absolute colossus of a cup tie, and I'm looking forward to this. Incidentally, so 6 minutes gone, no goals at this moment in time, and as I say, there'll be a draw for the quarter-finals, semi-finals. Sorry, at the end of the action here today. And any updates in the Liverpool match at Fulham, we'll also come across live for you as well. We'll try and keep you up to date. Meanwhile, Brighton have a free kick in a very dangerous position, just on the almost on the touchline, but about 5 or 10 yards from the edge of the penalty area. So an opportunity for really to Yakumbac or knockout to float the free kick in here. So a real opportunity. We'll come to the comment in a second or two. We have a set piece here. Yakumbac will take it. No, it won't. It'll be knockout with his right foot into the area. Well dealt with there by the Millwall defenders. But then Lewis Stunt playing the ball back in. But Murray would have been offside as that ball was played. And the ball goes kindly through to Martin, who now finds Ferguson. Ferguson turning nicely there. But just running into knockout his opposite number. But Ferguson still has the ball. And he's bombing down the left-hand channel. And was he taken out there by Montoya? I think he was, according to Chris Kavanagh. And it is a free kick. Crazy says, can't believe United got knocked out the Cup. Liverpool to play today in the FA Cup. No, they're playing in the Premier League. And he hopes Manchester City get Wolves in the next round. Well, it's a bit early to start talking about the draw. It could go anywhere. The draw, it could. We still don't know the identity of our fourth quarter finalist, and here have Millwall have a free kick in a good position on the near side. It's floated in towards the far post. There was 2 Millwall players going in for the same ball on the far post, and one of them may have been Cooper, but it's gone into the arms of Matt Ryan, and it's a good header one. It was Cooper's header, and he was under pressure from 3 Brighton defenders, and he did well to get the header even on target there. Did really well there, to be fair, the big defender. I support Rochdale and Manchester City. Rochdale had their league game called off, and they're struggling to get out of League One. And I've also heard they've parted company with Keith Hill very recently. As Brighton have the ball here, Liverpool and Fulham will be kicking off shortly, I'm told. But at the moment it's still 0-0 between Millwall and Brighton in the fourth and final quarter-final. Just to remind anyone who's not familiar with the new rules now, from the 5th round onwards, no replays. So the 6th round is the rules exactly the same as they were in the 5th round. No replays, got to be decided on the day, neither through 90 minutes or extra time or even penalties. So anything could happen here at the New Den this afternoon. This is Dale Stevens now in the centre of the field for Brighton, deep inside the Millwall half, but it was blocked. Stevens gets the ball back a second time. There may have been a handball by a Millwall player. Mr. Cabana, the referee, playing an advantage. Yakumbac playing the crossing from the left-hand side, and Millwall doing well. Stout defending here as O'Brien holds the ball up and wins the throw-in on the near side, still deep inside their own half for Millwall. David Martin is the reserve goalkeeper, playing in place of I presume an injured Jordan Archer, and a big day for him. Usually the backup keeper Ben Amos has been drafted in as a reserve goalkeeper for Millwall this afternoon. And well, Man City have got a chance. They were very lucky, in fact, to go through against Swansea yesterday. VAR had been there at the Liberty yesterday. I'm certain that Sergio Aguero goal would have been cancelled out. But as it happens, and just incidentally, while we're on the subject of VAR, we don't have it here at the New Den today because it's not a Premier League ground. But as I said in a video that I'd done earlier today, I think all VAR stuff should be compulsory from the 5th round onwards, regardless of what ground it takes place on. Anyway, here's Romeo. Good football again from Millwall. Here's the cross in from Wallace into the penalty area. Wasn't a good cross. Didn't get as far as the first man. Wallace has it again. Good football again. Romeo down this right hand side, and it's a throw into Millwall. And they're getting up ahead of steam here, the Lions. They're playing very, very well here at the moment. Just waiting to hear from our VAR expert Panini if he's on. Panini, give us a wave. And and tell me what your views are, as Bernardo conceded that throw in there, as Wallace gets it out to Romeo. Back to Wallace again. Lovely play down that right hand side by Millwall towards the near post, the right hand post, but Matt Ryan was well stationed at that near post and took the ball very calmly and cleanly, and in the end just calms a few Brighton nerves down there as the goal kick is taken from his hands. Over the halfway line it goes, 3/4 of the way up the field, deep into Millwall territory. Yekamach has got the ball there. Usually comes on as a substitute in a lot of the league games. Kyle for Brighton, but he almost lost out there, but he's managed to keep possession. Still a decently enough Brighton side. A few of the names you may remember from the Championship days, and then we're battling to get into the Premier League under Chris Hughton. I remember that three-way tussle between them, Middlesbrough and ourselves at Burnley, to get in there, and 2 in a 3 didn't go, and it was really nip and tuck until the last couple of games of the season, as Proper tries to play the ball in from the right-hand side. Well blocked again, and Leonard just hooks it away with his right foot, just up towards, just shy of halfway, where Gregory was trying to turn Big Lee Gregory, number 9, there for Millwall. Murray Wallace not involved today, he's suspended, and that's a real shame for Millwall, because he's a very talismanic player for the club, that's for sure. Got the winner of course in the 4th round against Everton, as the ball goes forward to close gun. Murray looked offside to me, and David Martin, the Millwall goalkeeper, just under a little bit of collision there with his defender Cooper, takes the ball, and Millwall can relieve that little bit of pressure now on themselves. And well, it's been an even cup tie so far, but Millwall certainly making the more endeavours. Don't think David Martin has had too much to do in that Lions goal at the moment in time, but shows how well for this one Millwall really are. Place at Wembley at stake, of course, and both semi-finals will be staged at the National Stadium. You'll be able to hear at least one of the semi-finals live on the JB Claret YouTube channel, and the final itself in May, and I'll be the commentator for the final, incidentally, as Cooper keeps that ball in. He finds number 6 Williams, who now finds Wallace, who now finds Romeo, having a bit of joy on this right hand side in his cutting field. Gets a little deflection. Wallace will shoot, charged down by 2 Brighton defenders. Shot comes in again. This time I think it was Williams who tried to have a pop, and again Brighton got bodies on the line and bodies in the way. Millwall are trying their absolute damnedest. There's been a Brighton player hurt in attempting to block these shots. I don't know who it was. Here he comes, number 15 Pearce. Gets the ball forward, right-footed towards Gregory. Turns nicely there. Still Gregory trying to keep possession here, but can't. Oh, he's pushed his man. No, he hasn't, according to the referee. Big decision that from Mr. Cavana, the referee. But Brighton have come away with the ball in, regardless of whatever decision would have gone for them or against them. Knockout has possession, and now Yekamach is just taking a much more central place in the field at the moment. Here's Kyle, a real talented player, not really had too much of a chance at Premier League level to show what he can do. He's a very skillful and very tricky player on his day, and he is a class player, certainly a good massive Championship player, but we haven't really seen enough of him at Premier League level to judge whether he would be able to make the grade in the Premier League. Certainly Knockout has certainly got the skills, and he's found the near side. Anthony Knockout cut it in, kept his feet well, still a chance. Oh, and well, in the end Millwall managed to get away to safety, but you give Anthony Knockout so much time, he will destroy you on that right hand side. Millwall just a little bit suspect in defence here. Knockout has certainly got the rainbow of skills, certainly against Championship opposition. He can carve Championship opposition apart in his days at Leicester and at Brighton. He's a class act, Anthony Knockout. And Brighton have stuck through thick and thin. When he lost his father, I think, a few years ago, and Chris Hughton and the Brighton team absolutely went a whole lot for him. Shows the team's spirit, and in fact they all went to the funeral. Everyone in the squad, the first team squad, went to his dad's funeral, which I thought was really nice and touching. in France, and it just shows the togetherness even in tough times. That Brighton are a decent, well organised side. It's a shame that it can't be said about my club at the moment, the way we're going about it. Too many big egos, but there's no egos with Chris Hughton. You can rest assured of that. He's a fantastic manager, and that win at Crystal Palace will have eased a few concerns about them being sucked into the relegation zone at this moment in time. 16 gone in this quarter-final, the final one of the weekend. We had 3 yesterday, and Watford got the better of it, of the first one at home, and then the second one was a narrow win for Man City, but my goodness, Swansea did half put them on the rack for a long period of that game yesterday. And then yesterday, Wolverhampton Wanderers booked their place in the semi-finals with a resounding 2-1 victory over Manchester United, who now can only go for the Champions League if they want major silverware this season. They're too far behind in the Premier League title race. Top 4 is probably their biggest chance of achieving it league-wise. So they're left with one trophy to play for, but they've got a big obstacle in that Champions League quarter-finals. Just a small matter of Barcelona and a certain Mr. Messi. Russie's on, fresh from his stint last night at Wolves. He says hello. Well, hello Russ, and thanks again for your fantastic commentary last night, and I think everyone enjoyed that, and it was a cracking game for you to do today. But we might have a cracker here. Still 0-0 here in this quarter-final as the ball played in, and the sun has now come out down in London. Millwall is based in Bermondsey, although Millwall itself, the actual place, is situated on the Isle of Dogs, but the actual thing is south east London, is it? East London, I think, south east London. And Russ will be bringing us up to date with what's happening at Craven Cottage as well, so it means I don't have to check every 5 minutes. The Brighton fans have just they've populated the top end of the Coldblow end, and it's well, it's not Coldblow Lane end, it's the other end of the ground. It's the left hand end. They're populated there. Just the top tier, as the bottom tier is closed off. But it'll bring, but the couple of cup runs they've been on in the last 2 or 3 years, Millwall, will bring them much needed finances. They got to the quarter-finals last year, 2 years ago, when they got to White Hart Lane for that quarter-final against Tottenham. They were resoundingly beaten 6-0, but they've beaten some fantastic teams along the way, including then Premier League title holders Leicester City, and put a nail in the coffin of a certain Claudio Ranieri. Well, I think we want Liverpool to win because basically we've got a title race on, but I can't see Fulham getting anything against Liverpool realistically. Manchester United fans TV, as a free kick comes in. I'd like to know how you rate your chances over 2 legs against Barcelona. Let me know in the comments section if you wouldn't mind. As we see Brendan Kyle, as we see Kyle there, trip to the floor, and a free kick to Brighton midway inside the Millwall half. Almost central of the field. Well, confidence of some Manchester United fans have wrote it off. They don't think they've got a chance. Well, at least you're a positive Manchester United fan, as the ball is whipped in there by Stevens towards the penalty area, and Millwall do some fantastic defending here. Now then, they've got a break on here if they can get players involved, and it's Turnicliffe leading the charge. He's found Wallace, and Wallace has just kept it in. No, he hasn't. He's run out of pitch. It's a very tight pitch here at the Den, which makes it very difficult, really. Bob might have taken a couple of bobbles as well, as Wallace was trying to control it. Nice little ball though. Nice little idea there from Ryan Tunnicliffe. Just as I say, bobbled a couple of times, which made it very difficult for number 7 Wallace to control. And there's a couple of Millwall players gone down there. We were just coming off a replay when we saw 2 Millwall players poleaxe, but they've got a free kick here, the Lions, and a very great performance and a great opportunity. Jed Wallace is the other Wallace in the Millwall team. Of course, Murray Wallace, who got the winner against Everton in the 4th round, is unavailable. Firstly, for 2 reasons. One, he's got an injury anyway, and the second he would have been suspended for today anyway, as the ball is floated into the mixer once again. He comes out here to number 28 here, which is Leonard, but Brighton get it away. So been a little bit of game of cat and mouse at the moment. It's not been a classic by any means, but you can understand that this is a great opportunity not just for Brighton but for Millwall as well, because there's a massive, I mean for Millwall more so, because they're a team that doesn't have much in the way of finances. They don't have money to spend. Neil Harris has to really put his faith in low budget signings and free transfers and the like, and it's a tough job that he's got, but they are backed by a good supporter. They've got a terrific fan base at Millwall, and let's hope. I mean, they seem very well behaved today, and they've done so much to get rid of all this hooligan element at the club. What doesn't get reported really is the good job that Millwall do in the community as a whole to bring, because it is a very working class area, Bermondsey, and they do a lot of good work, community work, and work very well with the supporters to really make it a great atmosphere to come and watch football. And I've got to tell you that Millwall have made some great strides, and I think the majority of the supporters are very good fans anyway, so no qualms from me about Millwall. They have moved on and evolved positively as a football club over the last dozen years or so. Absolutely Anonymous says Watford stroke Wolves stroke Millwall or Brighton shows the importance of filling in our strongest 11s and having a good go in the cup. Yes, Manchester United were beaten last night. I actually have a sneaking suspicion, and I don't really like to make predictions at any stage, but I absolutely fancy Wolves. I think Wolves' name could be on the cup, although Brighton will have something to say. Manchester City were massively in trouble yesterday, and it just shows the importance and the pressures of going for a quadruple that City are doing at the moment. They've got Spurs over 2 legs next month in the Champions League. They're in a title tussle with Liverpool. They've already beaten, don't forget, they've already won the League Cup on penalties some 3 or 4 weeks ago. So this is not cut and blow dry really for City, and they made hard work at Wembley that afternoon, I seem to remember, beating Chelsea with all the Kepa controversy and everything else. But here's as the proper with the cross, and it's come off the Brighton, the Millwall defender, which was Leonard, and it's a corner kick to Millwall, to Brighton, sorry. Brighton rather, not Millwall. Fantastic performance. I'd like to get your view on the red card incident, absolutely anonymous, from a Manchester United fan's perspective. I felt it should have been a red card. It got overturned through VAR. I'd like to, at least you magnanimous in defeat, but I'd like to get your views on that red card if you wouldn't mind. And did Lindelof deserve to go? Meanwhile, Brighton are changing their corner kick taker. Jokovic is off the corners, and Knockaert is going to take it. So here comes the corner then. Knockaert just moving the little advertising board by the corner quadrant. Referee making sure that there's no jostling or pushing in there. Martin is being hounded up by the likes of Murray and 1 or 2 others. So this is going to be difficult for David Martin, as Knockaert sends the corner in, and Martin got a good couple of fists on that. Didn't get enough good distance maybe on that. Stevens trying to keep it alive for Brighton. Then Murray tries to get the ball out. Shot came in, it got the deflection, and now Millwall try to break. But here come Brighton once again. And here's Jokovic now, trying to play it in there, but he can't find Kyle. And now Wallace. Jed Wallace now for Millwall. 25 minutes gone. We're halfway past the first half. It's gone very quickly, I have to say. It's Millwall 0, Brighton 0, Albion 0 in the final quarter-final of the FA Cup. We've got to have a decision here this afternoon. Extra time or penalties or 90 minutes, whatever. We will have a decision, and we'll have the semi-final draw after events here at the New Den this afternoon, and we'll bring that to you live as well before we come off the air. Remember, the kick-off semi-final draw will take place around about, if things go to plan, about 5 to 4 this afternoon, and we'll be off the air just after 4 here for this afternoon's game. I'm not sure if they've kicked off yet at Fulham, but we'll keep you abreast of what happens there throughout the course of the afternoon. Here's Wallace out to the far side. Here's Romeo. Romeo cuts inside from the right hand side, and just for a moment he might have got it onto that left foot, but he didn't. And now here comes Kyle now for Brighton, and Jakenbach is there too on halfway. It's a Brighton ball, or is it a Millwall throw? Brighton are saying it's theirs. Millwall are saying it's theirs. It's a Millwall throw. Chris Kavanagh has ruled it as being a Millwall ball, and no goals after 13 minutes in the game at Craven Cottage, as Wallace plays a lovely teasing ball in. It took a couple of deflections as it went towards goalkeeper Matt Ryan, but it's starting to open up a little bit now. Here's Montoya down the right hand side for Brighton. He's run about 50-60 yards with that ball, and he picks out Knockaert. What close control he's got. He's a box of tricks, this kid. He really is. He's a superb player, Anthony Knockaert, and look at him there trying to keep abreast of him, and look at that. And now Proper gets a low cross in, comes out, and the shot comes in. It was Kyle's shot, right footed from the edge of the area, and well done Davy Martin there. A little tough test there because it was very low, very tricky for goalkeepers. It's not the best pitch in the world, although I have to say it does the Millwall pitch. I'd say it's not the difficult pitch. There's a few bobbles here or there, but having said that, the Millwall pitch is actually quite in decent shape, really, to say. It's a little bit bobbly, but it's proving to be a decent cup tie that's starting to come to the balls. 5 attempts to 3 Millwall's favour. They've had 1 shot on target each. So it's not for the one to try, and it's still goalless. But I know they're trying to make a good game of it here, and they want to put a good show on because it's been shown on terrestrial television nationally all across Great Britain. Millwall have won a 3 kick, and Jakenbach is the guilty party. It's Kyle. It's the guilty party. He's absolutely took out young Leonard here. High foot. Well, you could argue that's a yellow card offence. Possibly red if we'd had VAR in operation, and they've got big screens at the Den. I can't understand why the FA will not use VAR at non-Premier League grounds. I find that totally and utterly bewildering. Anyway, here, you know my situation on that. Here's Pearce with a 3 kick for Millwall. Into Gregory. Gregory tries to hook volley it, and he hooks it just under the roof of the net, just from the right of the 6-yard area. It's a terrific little half volley. And I tell you what, that would have been one of the goals of the round if he managed to get that one in. Good header one there initially by Cooper, and on the right foot. First touch of control was magnificent, and just over the top of the crossbar. It was a terrific effort, and if it had dipped over Ryan and gone in, that would have been a marvellous goal from Millwall. And Lee Gregory, what a moment that could have been in his, not just today, this season, but his entire career. That could have changed his life. And even the very young are inside the New Den today. Shows how far they've come as a community club. Millwall certainly serves the Bermondsey community in London, which is, as I say, is very working class. It used to be a site for the dockers in South London. As David Martin takes the kick now for Millwall. 0-0 with just shy of half an hour played, and it's been a decent game. I just think Millwall have just shaded in on chances created, but it's been a super tie so far. Just needs a goal just to give it that blue touch paper light. And here's Jed Wallace trying to make something of it. He looks for a corner, which has been given, I think, by Sean Massey. And it is a corner. So Millwall have a chance, and their best chance, as I said in the 4th round, when we did have their 4th round heroics against Everton, they do have great set piece prowess. And this is what the likes of Duncan, Duffy have got to be aware of. They're the first choice centre halves, remember, for Brighton, and I'm sure they will watch videos of that match against Everton. Of course, they knocked out Millwall. They knocked out AFC Wimbledon in the last round. Here's the corner coming in from the left hand side. The goalkeeper really didn't get a good purchase on the ball. Comes out again. A chance here for Tunnicliffe to play the ball in. Still alive here. Number 15, Pearce has got it. Still a chance here for Millwall. If they can get the ball into the penalty area, it'll come again. A chance here on the right hand side for a cross. Plenty of blue shirts in that penalty area, and in the end Brighton doing it, but not well enough. But now Lewis Dunk can just release the strain from the Brighton defence and just hook it as far away from the field as we can, and Romeo just gets it back to goalkeeper David Martin. Absolutely Anonymous has replied. He said, I would have said it was a red card. VAR should have confirmed it, but VARs are better at the moment. And don't forget to check out my views on VAR. I did a video which is now up on my YouTube channel. Check that out, and you'll and listen to my suggestions and ideas on how VAR could be improved, not just in the FA Cup but in league football, Premier League especially in general, and how it could be bettered, because the current system we've got is a complete shambles at the moment, and I would agree with Absolutely Anonymous on that one. Well, we play 31.5 minutes gone, and everyone's there, the young and the old, they're all cheering their beloved Millwall. And it's nice to see the young and the old as well. Certainly the elderly enjoying an FA Cup spectacle, and a semi-final up for grabs. So much at stake here for these two teams. It's, you can't put a price on it really, and you've got to give Millwall all sorts of credit. Chris Hughton knows he was going to be in a game this afternoon. But at least this weather is really nice down in South London at the moment, and the sun is now just which you come out now, and it's cascading magnificently over this well prepared pitch here at the New Den, as the kick is taken by David Martin just outside the penalty area, right footed, 3/4 of the way up the field, almost towards the edge of the Brighton penalty box. And here's Kyle now trying to get it under control, wicks it up in the air a couple of times, but he was fouled 10 yards inside the Millwall half according to referee Chris Kavanagh, and a free kick it is to Brighton and Hove Albion. Just to remind you with colours, in case you joined us late, Millwall are playing in their dark blue shirts with white shorts and dark blue stockings, and Brighton are all in yellow, fluorescent yellow. And free kick to be taken by number 6 Dale Stevens here for Brighton, as he goes short this time, and the ball laid in towards the Millwall penalty area. But Millwall, it's really stout defending there by the Lions. They've really done magnificently well this season, really, the FA Cup. But they got a welcome win in the league during the week against Birmingham up at St Andrews, which was it's always a tough place to go, and they deserve to win by all accounts. They play some really good stuff in spells, and they play some really good stuff today, I have to say. Most of their joy has practically gone down the right with Jed Wallace and Romeo. Marlon Romeo, they've really looked a real force, a real gruesome twosome on the right for Brighton and against Brighton, and I don't think they've coped with them in that aspect. But at the moment it's 0-0 here at the Den, and certainly Millwall are having the better of things. Here's Dale Stevens though, 10 yards inside the Millwall half of Brighton, plays it in towards David Prop, and now it goes to the right hand side, and here's Anthony Knockaert. The man has got boxer tricks in him, and the ball won inside the penalty area from 6 yards. It was Kyle again. He's had a couple of great opportunities for Brighton, both of them half chances. I think Kyle would have had to have done enough to score. He's not the tallest of men. Millwall a little bit slack in defence, but again, good take by David Martin, good save, used both his hands, got the ball and grasped it very, very well, and that will do his confidence even more good there. He's had a couple of efforts like that to save, and he's passed them with flying colours, and that will do his confidence. An absolute power of good. Oh, that's a late challenge there, and surely Bernardo's got to go in the book for that. It was a horror challenge on Romeo. It was a stupid challenge really, and no need to make it, because Romeo was going nowhere fast, and well, Bernardo now has got to watch his step here. And a real rush of blood there, which he's quite fortunate to come away with a booking. So a yellow card for Bernardo, quite rightly so. Well, free kick has been taken by Millwall. They've really dug themselves in here, and roared on by their passionate fans. They're like the 12th man for the team. That's the one thing you'll always associate with Millwall. They have that 12th man intensity here, a bit like Burnley in a way, that the fans really get behind the team if they are struggling or in a jam. Just a shame the players of Burnley yesterday at Turf Moor didn't show as much passion as the fans, certain players anyway. But enough about that. Let's concentrate. And I'm just seeing a shot of the two managers there really showing their passion on the touchline. Chris Hughton has really forced himself, having been in the system for many years up at Newcastle, has forged a proper good managerial career in his own right. He's managed Newcastle, Norwich, Birmingham and Brighton with fantastic distinction. He's always done well wherever he's been, Chris Hughton. He had that tough spell at Norwich, of course, where they just couldn't buy a win in the Premier League a couple of years, 3 or 4 years back. But he really has reinvented himself properly, really good, and he's a fantastic man manager, Chris Hughton. You can't knock him for that. He's a fantastic man manager. He's one that never gives in. He's one that never gives up, and he's always wanting more from his team. And the same you could say with Neil Harris, with the resources and the meagre resources he's got at his disposal at the New Den. You know, just imagine if he had better resources. I think he could do an even greater job, because the man is an absolute legend and giant and an icon in these parts. But here's Proper now through the middle for Brighton, over to the Kyle on the far side, and he loses out again. And Brighton, Millwall are just absolutely showing absolutely digging in here against the Premier League outfit. You wouldn't know that there was a Premier League side and who was the Premier League side and who was the team lower down in the Championship, as the shot comes in from, well, I don't know, about 20-25 yards to the right of the penalty area. It's gone into the Millwall fans, and it was Anthony Knockaert with the left-footed shot that went, well, it wasn't really troubling the scorers or even David Martin's goal for that matter. It wasn't a particularly good effort. It was way over the top, and in the end the goal kick was always going to be the decision. We've got an update from Russ at Fulham. It's 0-0 after 24 minutes, but Ryan Babel, the former Liverpool man, is causing Liverpool all sorts of massive troubles. So it may not be a foregone conclusion as a lot of us thought it might be. So, well, as I say, until I watch it back again, I can't really say. But that's the news at the moment at Craven Cottage. Thank you to Russ for the latest update, and if any significant incidents happening in that game, Russ will be the man to put it up on there, and I'll confirm it for him as well. So he's fantastic, and a goal has actually been we've got a goal flash. It's a goal for Liverpool. Mane is in terrific form. He was terrific against Burnley last week. He was terrific against Bayern Munich in midweek, and he's kept up his good scoring ratio this week. After 26 minutes, Sadio Mane puts Liverpool in the lead. If they win today, they go top, but remember, they'll have played a game more than Manchester City, who have been playing in the Cup this weekend. So the title plot thickens even further. By the way, you're not missing anything significant here at the New Den whilst I was talking about the Fulham-Liverpool match. And later on this afternoon in the league, there is Everton versus Chelsea as well. Big game for both Everton and Chelsea, that, because Everton have been underperforming under Marco Silva, especially at Goodison Park, and of course Chelsea looking to get into the Champions League through Maurizio Sarri. Looks as if his job is secure for the time being, although there have been murmurs of a managerial change. There's been talk of Nuno Santo of Wolves taking charge of Chelsea. How true that is, I'm not quite sure. But the New Den is buzzing with anticipation, and the Millwall fans have not stopped singing, they've not stopped chanting, they've not stopped backing their team right from the first whistle. We'll be going now for 39.5 minutes. It's Millwall 0, Brighton 0 in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, sponsored by Emirates. Long ball forward looking towards Gregory. Kept him superbly well by number 18, Tunnicliffe. Tunnicliffe does really well. Gets Jed Wallace away. Now here's Romeo down the right hand side. Infield to Williams. Williams turning. Did really well there, Williams, but then gives the ball straight away. And here's a chance for Montoya to lead out the attack. And he finds Bayan Kyle. And Kyle gets his cross in. But again, sufficient Millwall defenders back there. And doing some good defensive work there, and a great performance so far by Neil Harris's men. He'll be, if they can get in 0-0 or even 1-0 up, it would be a magnificent achievement for them. They've been the better team. Oh, and almost an opportunity then for Gregory. Couldn't just lay the ball towards the right hand side when they've had so much joy, and in the end Ferguson has fouled knockout number 11 and number 11 on the near side, and a free kick to Brighton 10 yards from halfway inside their own half on the right hand side. Neil Harris will be the happier of the two managers. His team should really be in front on balance of play, but credit to Brighton, their defence has stood up strongly. They are a very sturdy defensive unit, and Lewis Dunk and Shane Duffy are a decent defensive partnership. They didn't look it against Burnley, of course, some 5 or 6 weeks back, but they look a lot more sounder today when we last covered them at the Amex that Saturday night, and they are performing a lot better. But here's Lennon now to win it on the near side for Millwall, their left hand side. So inside their own half, however, but the ball is hooked back to David Martin, who's had a really good first half. Plenty of shots to save, and he's done it competently. He hasn't tried to make a mess of the balls as he come in. He's always tried to grasp the ball whenever he's been needed to make a save. He's done it competently and confidently. Brighton are just shading it on possession. They've had 51% of the play to Millwall's 49%. So it's a little bit nip and tuck as far as possession is concerned, with Brighton just shading it on the possession front. But certainly Millwall have had some chances. Millwall 0, Brighton 0 as we come up towards 3 minutes from the break, plus any injury and stoppage time to be added on, of course. Here's Knockout in towards Montoya. Montoya, did it get a deflection of Ferguson? Not according to the assistant, or is it a corner? Yeah, it looks like a corner, because they're all shaping up the Millwall players to defend that corner. So Montoya has won that particular battle, and it will be a Brighton and Hove Albion corner. Not too many Brighton players making their way forward. Oh, they're all starting to make their way forward now as Anthony Knockout prepares to take the corner. Just needs to get the ball and get it back underway. Remember, Liverpool winning at Fulham. Sadio Mane with a goal there in the Premier League. Here in the Cup, it's 0-0, and we see nice to see the local kids, the local school kids enjoy a nice lunch, burger and chips. Proper working class fare. As the corner comes in towards the back post, header one. They're appealing for a penalty. There might have been a little shirt pull on Shane Duffy at the far post, but the referee, Chris Cavana, wasn't interested and says goal kick to Millwall. This is one of these if only moments if we had VAR, and I have to say Cooper has absolutely, well, Cooper's got a lot of his arm, and if VAR had been there, I have to tell you, I think Brighton could have had a penalty. That is my humble opinion, and I can understand Shane Duffy's frustration there. Should have been a penalty there to Brighton if VAR had not been there. So Millwall may have got lucky there a little bit there, but sometimes in the Cup you need that little bit of luck. But it's 0-0, and Millwall have played really well. Let's give them their fair dues. They've been terrific. Brighton have tried to come into the game as best they can. It's very difficult in an atmosphere like the New Den. It's always a difficult place to come and play away from home. But as I say, it's anyone's race. It could still be won and lost. Well, it has to be decided on the day. Here's a chance for proper inside the Millwall penalty area. Good block again. This time number 22 O'Brien getting his body in the way, and it's another corner to Brighton and Hove Albion on the right hand side. But a really good bit of play there, and O'Brien and in fact Cooper both putting their bodies completely and utterly on the line. So another Anthony Knockout right hand corner to come. Again, a little pushing and jostling, and the referee being spoken to there by one of the Millwall players. I'm not sure who it was. Pearce it was, the centre back. Again, the referee will be watching for pushing and shoving and all that sort of game as that corner comes in again towards the far post. And again there was pushing and shoving, and a Millwall free kick has been given against Captain Lewis Dunk. So we're coming up towards the end of the first half in terms of normal time. We'll get an indication from the fourth official how much longer there's going to be in terms of stoppage time, and the answer is simple: 1 added minute will be added on at the end of the half. and a half really that hasn't had too much incident really in terms of scrappy fouls and late challenges. The referee, it's been a pretty free-flowing game. He hasn't been fussy in any way, shape or form. I have to say Chris Cabana's referee has been superb so far, and Gregory jumping for that ball. Are we going to see one more Millwall attack? The referee's brought the game back, I'm afraid. It is a foul on one of the Brighton players, and it's a free kick to Brighton. We've got about 40 seconds of the stoppage time to go. And at this moment in time, there's Shah Massey, the assistant on the near side. I think Neil Harris will be pretty satisfied with the attitude of his players and the way they've gone about it, and you know, they might be a little bit unfortunate not to be ahead in the game, but they've done okay, Millwall. They've done all right against a very, very tough opponent in Brighton and Hove Albion. So, as at Wolves last night, the first half ends goalless. Let's hope for better things in the second half, of course. But Millwall getting a good standing ovation from their supporters as we go towards the end of as the teams go into the tunnel. Been very good game. It's been almost like a chess match in periods. Millwall have had the better of the chances. Kyle's had a couple of sights for Brighton as well. But we're going to take a 10-minute break here. But a good competitive cup quarter-final could still go either way. Half time at the New Den. Millwall 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Fulham 0, Liverpool 1 in the Premier League. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and after that break we'll bring you full second half commentary of this game, and we'll also keep you updated with what events at the Craven Cottage, and of course after the game is finished here we'll have the draw for the semi-finals, which both of them take place at Wembley. So stay tuned, plenty to come here on this live commentary stream this afternoon. But the half-time situation here at the New Dan, it's Millwall 0, Brighton 0. Welcome back to the final quarter-final, where it's 0-0 at the moment between Millwall and Brighton in the final quarter-final of the FA Cup, and we have to have a decision here today whether it's through 90 minutes, extra time or penalties. Well, at the moment, Millwall has just been interviewed for television at the moment. He got the match winner in the last 2 rounds. Half-time has just come up at Craven Cottage. It's 1-0 to Fulham, 1-0 sorry to Millwall, so Liverpool are in charge in that one. And it's very cold. It's a blustery day. I forgot to mention that the wind and the wind is certainly gaining a head up, but it's still no rain in the air, and the Cup semi-final draw will follow whatever happens here at the New Den this afternoon. So stick around for the draw. Don't all go off in your droves on. Don't all go off in your droves to away from the stream, because I'm sure you want to know who draws who in the semi-finals, and you'll be able to hear that live on the JB Clark YouTube channel. 20 goals this season for Marnie, incidentally, at Craven Cottage, as we await the start of the second half here. The players are waiting to come on. 0-0, Charles, is the half-time score in the game that we're watching. Just to make you aware of that. Also, after the match and what happens here in the draw, and when we come off the air, go and check out my video on my views on VAR, and obviously check out my rant if you haven't already on Burnley's failure against Leicester City yesterday, and it's pretty X-rated, I can tell you, what I absolutely shout out towards the football club. And I'm a passionate Burnley fan, and I love the club to bits, but the way it's been run is a disgrace. But anyway, that's all on the video, and that's all we need to tell you at this moment in time. Anyway, here at the New Den, we're just seeing Brighton now just come out onto the field. And the Millwall fans, big day for them, a potential, and for the football club. And if they can get to Wembley, the money that's going to be generated off this cut run alone is going to run into 2 or 3 million quid. And for Millwall, that is important for them. A lower end Championship club that are struggling on the third lowest budget in the Championship. It's very, very difficult to really compete, but compete they have done, and if they can stay up, it will be the miracle of all miracles. Neil Harris, I cannot overemphasize enough how well Neil Harris has done there as Millwall's manager. A real icon at the club. He's played most of his career at the New Den. He fought off testicular cancer as well. A brave man, a real warrior and a true lion, that is for sure. Chris Hughton, very much loyal to the Brighton cause these days, but the cheers are for the men in blue, and this really is now going to be hopefully a second half. Hopefully we'll see some goals. The last thing we want to see is extra time, and Millwall will be attacking their favourite end towards the Cold Blow Lane end, which was sort of an unofficial title of the Home Dome many years ago. But it's a nice little stadium, nice little ground, and it's Brighton and Hove Albion attacking the goal to our left now. Will get us underway in all yellow. Just to remind you of colours, Brighton in all yellow, they're going to the left in the second half, and Millwall, the home team, in dark blue shirts, white shorts and dark blue stockings, they're going to be attacking the goal to our right, the Cold Blow Lane end of the stadium. And away we go, and the first clearance is charged down already by Lee Gregory, and off we go now with it was Lewis Dunk trying to get that away, and he did so magnificently. Still 0-0 in case you've joined us late. Kyle's had a couple of half chances for Brighton. Millwall's best of Millwall's play has been down their right hand side, where Jed Wallace and Marlon Romeo have made so many positive runs on their outside, so it hasn't been a dull 0-0 by any stretch. We've seen some good attacking play, some great build-up plays, some great passing moves conceived, but at the moment 0-0 here. Remember, it's 1-0 at half time in the Premier League match between Fulham and Liverpool. Liverpool, of course, looking to win their first league title, first top division title since May 1990. And Kenny Dalglish, when it was winning Kenny Dalglish penultimate season at Liverpool Football Club a year before he mysteriously resigned after that Everton Cup replay at Goodison Park, and we will never know properly the reasons why he dealt. I think it might have been to do with the traumas of Hillsborough and all that, but they are battling to win their first title since 1990. Still 0-0 here, as I've mentioned about 3 times since we've rejoined you. So as we're well underway, it's Brighton on the attack now with 1 minute 30 gone. 0-0, remember, you haven't missed any of the significant second half action. It's going to be a real nip and tuck second half. As I'm just reminding listeners of what's happened in the first half in case you joined us late, and there's a little collision in the penalty area just coming together as Kyle gets his crossing from the left hand side. But again, David Martin, good, strong, firm handling of the ball. Again, that'll do his confidence of power of good. There's Baron Kyle. Came to my attention when he got involved with a bit of a spat 2 or 3 years ago when Burnley and Brighton were fighting to get into the Premier League, and they had and him and Joey Barton had a running battle, which culminated in Barton allegedly stamping on Kyle, and Kyle did make his meal of it that day, I remember. As a Burnley fan, I was bound to say that, but he is a talented young player, and on his day he can turn it on. Glenn Murray hasn't really had a sniff so far up front for Brighton at the moment, as the long kick comes in from Matt Ryan, and the ball is hooked forward there by Dale Stevens, and that will come for David Martin again to take possession. He's had a decent game. David Martin coming in for Jordan Archer, who's the regular goalkeeper in these parts. Nice to see Mary Wallace, albeit on crutches, being interviewed by television at half time. As the chance is, Matt Ryan almost got himself into a tangle with Gregory perilously close towards him. Oh my goodness me, it was a long kick here, and I just looked away. Gregory had flicked it on. Ryan came out of his goal, and it came off the defender, and Gregory almost won it, but Ryan, the Australian, recovered sufficiently, and just for one fleeting moment, I took my eye off the ball, and in the end, Millwall almost made me pay for that, and almost made Ryan pay for that. Would have been a bizarre goal to concede if that was the case, but it hasn't. It hasn't cost Brighton anything at the moment, but that'll give Millwall's confidence a huge boost now that they know that Brighton are not enjoying their trip to the new den. As the ball is hooked high in the air by the number 20 by Leonard. Well, this really is a real... They're up against it now, Brighton. If they weren't up against it in the first half, they're certainly up against it now. Matt Ryan, even one of the most experienced goalkeepers in the land, Australian international, veteran of 2 World Cup finals. In the FA Cup, sometimes you get into a bit of a tangle. And it all happened here with this one ball forward, a flicked on by Gregory, and he hit Duffy, and it went backwards, and oh my goodness. It could have easily been the opening goal, and that answers your actual question, Keddy. It's 0-0. As the ball comes forward, 0-0. Remember, we're coming up towards the 5-minute mark of the second half. Ryan again. The swirling wind is not helping now. The sun has gone in. It's now overcast conditions here at the new den. Still 0-0. Here come Millwall now. They really are having a really good go here, and O'Brien conceding a throw in, but you can just tell. I'm looking at one of the flags behind the stands, and it is absolutely blowing a gale, and the Millwall fans really making themselves heard here at the moment. 50 minutes gone, 5 in the second half gone, and still no goals, but a terrific cup tie in the making. Still haven't heard from Panini yet. Where is Panini? Is he not with us today? Is he having a lazy day in bed? Come on, Panini, wake up and come and join us. 0-0. FA Cup quarter-finals day. The final quarter-final has to be decided today. Tunnicliffe trying to flick the ball on towards Gregory, but he couldn't be found. And here's a chance now. from Brighton, but well blocked by Williams. And really, this tie, one goal may be the difference in this one, because it's a toss-up, a coin sort of game. This really is. It's a 50-50 sort of a game, and that's the way it's been played out as far as I've been concerned. But Millwall are really giving it their best shot. You know, Millwall don't have the Premier League millions that Brighton have. They are a small London club that are trying to get their way up the pyramid. They are doing a fantastic job to even try and stay in the Championship, and they're out that relegation zone, and their survival chances were massively boosted on Wednesday with that victory at St Andrews against Birmingham City. Offside would have been the call, but it's gone to David Martin, who's had a tremendous game, and he'll take possession and he'll surely pick the ball up here. And now it's starting to sleet and hail and rain here at the new Den. It's it's proper wintry conditions. We had some sun in the first half, but now the rain and the sleet and the hail are coming down, and this could actually change the complexity of the game. Who will adapt to these adverse conditions first? Which means now the pitch will get very, very greasy on top. And if any players have got a sort of the wrong stood on their boots, they'll certainly know about it when they slip sliding about. 52 gone here in this quarter-final of the FA Cup. It's Millwall 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. In the sleet, snow and rain and the hail here. We've had all the 4 seasons here in this one game alone. We had sun in the first half. Now we're getting sleet or hail and rain, and now it could... Now the conditions could actually favour Millwall here in this particular environment. They're attacking the cold blow lane end of the ground in the second half. And the ball hooked forward looking towards Gregory, but he can't be found, and the ball back to Matt Ryan. Now Ryan and Gregory putting him under a lot of pressure there, but he got the kick away towards the left hand side, and it will be a throw in to, is it Millwall? Yes it is. There he is, the old cold blow lane, and look at the sleet and the rain that's coming down here now. It's just absolutely teeming it down now. Still 0-0. We've had in all the seasons of the Webbers. It's amazing what British weather does to you. In late February we were getting heat waves. Now we're getting hail and rain and all sorts now, and everyone's taking cover. Peanut Butter Banana says who will win between Arsenal and Napoli. Well, it's a very difficult one to call. Both similar clubs. I wouldn't like to make predictions. You would favour Arsenal, but Napoli I know slouches either, as the free kick comes into the penalty area. FA Cup tie this is now, as Wallace has it for Millwall. He's had a good match today, Jed Wallace. He's done really well, and there's a few oh, he felt it came off the Brighton player last, but to no avail. And Wallace and Yakimac just having a little bit of a set to here, which is sort of going to have a little bit of needle in this second half. No goals at the moment, Jin. It's 0-0. Bernardo to take the throw-in for Brighton. It's really tough conditions out there now with the sleet and the hail and the rain coming down in South London. Brighton have had to make the 45-mile trip from Sussex to London here today. Been difficult, and at the moment they're not having it all their own way. It's 0-0. Brighton now have had to survive a scare from a goal kick flicked on by Wallace. Matt Ryan and Lewis Dunk got in each other's way, almost led to Wallace putting Millwall in front, but it's still 0-0 here. And oh, what a lovely picture. The little daughter trying to put the father's hood up. That's really sweet. Nice sweet pictures we're seeing here at the moment. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Millwall on the attack. The ball threaded out towards the far side. Now can Ferguson, number 11, keep it in on that far side? It's quite moist on that far side. Puddles on the touchline over on the far side there. Adjacent, the other side of the Barry Kitchener stand where the television cameras are covering the game from. Barry Kitchener, a real Millwall legend of the 60s and 70s. And has the main stand named after him here at the Den. The cold blow lane really getting behind the team now. It's still 0-0, but I still believe there'll be a goal or two in this second half. With the conditions now, it's going to make conditions a lot tougher, and it's going to probably be a goal. It's going to probably be one goal in it, but the conditions now are not going to favour pretty football now at this stage of the proceedings. It's going to have to be who battles through, and Millwall, as we all know, are cup scrappers, but they've lost out this time. Glenn Murray coming forward, finds Kyle in the centre of the field, 25 yards from the Millwall goal. Kyle shoots right-footed, good save, David Martin, still comes away for Brighton. They might still have another chance on the far side, but the ball just wouldn't fall for them, and great Millwall defending too. But David Martin with the save of the match for me. Kyle hitting the shot, right-footed. It was a venomously hit shot, very low down, and Martin diving away to his left, palmed it away. It was a good save from the Millwall goalkeeper. 56 minutes gone. It's Millwall 0, Brighton 0. Both teams now having good moments. Here's Dale Stephens for Brighton, just inside the Millwall half, 50 yards inside. Goes out to the right-hand side. This is Montoya. Still 0-0. Proper now has it for Brighton. Back to Shane Duffy. Now Lewis Dunk, the captain. Trots over halfway. Just trots towards the left. Kyle is the support to his left. But he goes in field. Goes back to his centre-half partner inside the centre circle inside their own half. Now halfway line. The ball chipped forward again by Montoya. Looking for Proper, but he can't be found. Millwall win possession back. It's not going to be a pretty second half now with the conditions the way they are. There are a few muddy patches there with a little bit of surface water on, and Kyle goes down there, but Ferguson was decreed that was a fair tackle, fair shoulder charge. Kyle wants a free kick. I think he made a little bit of a meal of it there, Kyle. That's just the one trait in his game. I thought it was a fair shoulder charge here by Ferguson, or maybe a little push there, but Kyle did make a little meal of that. It's a free kick, or a goal kick rather than Millwall. Well, let's just see that save again on replay. I'm just seeing it there on replay. He's hit that terrifically well, Kyle, with his right foot, and I think that's just going inside the post. And David Martin having to scamper across to his left-hand side as he looks. Makes a superb save. Meanwhile, Millwall on the other end. Great save by Matt Ryan. He was Gregory through on goal. And somehow Matt Ryan kept it out. He spread himself like an eagle and made an absolute superb save. And this game is starting to hot up here in the hailstone and the rain. Great save. Fantastic opportunity then. In fact, it wasn't Gregory, I don't think. It was... who was it? I think it might have been Ferguson, I think. But it's still 0-0. That's the important thing to think about. I don't cover Millwall. This is the second time this season I've covered Millwall. This is the 56th game we've covered live on the YouTube channel this season. And there's always been drama in every one of the games we've covered. Certainly we had our fair share of drama yesterday. Millwall wants a free kick. Referee Kavanagh not interested. Matt Ryan kicks away right-footed under pressure from Millwall. Hooked forward again by Cooper. What a great performance, and Ferguson can't get onto the ball. Threaded forward. It was, in fact, was it Tunnicliffe with the chance? Was it Ryan Tunnicliffe? I'm just wondering if it was Tunnicliffe here. Well, certainly a great opportunity. Yes, it was Ryan Tunnicliffe, but good goalkeeping anyway from Matt Ryan. I thought it might have been Lee Gregory actually, but it's hard to tell in this very, very, very adverse weather conditions. It's sleeting, it's hailing and raining, and all sorts of different weather traits are beginning to feel like John Ketley at the moment, or Michael Fish talking about the weather conditions. Millwall now whipping up the cold blow lane in because they have another set place. Now this is where they got the result against Everton. Set plays. That was the key for them in the last round. In the fourth round, they got through in the conventional, scoring the conventional way in the fifth round through Murray Wallace at AFC Wimbledon. Can Millwall do it? An hour gone here. Brighton are in a battle here. Here comes the corner from the far side. And header one there inside the area, well won, and Millwall just couldn't make anything of it. It was a good header won by Cooper. Now Wallace turns it into the danger zone from the right hand side, and Brighton had enough wayward enough nous to see it out. Still 0-0, and a half minutes gone. 6-0 and a half minutes gone, I should say. But the goal is not far off coming, I feel. The way the game is going at the moment, I can see a goal happening. I have no doubts and no qualms about that. But it's still 0-0 here. Millwall 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Here comes Montoya, looking to get Knockaert on his way, but Cooper's there. It's a very heavy pitch now, which is going to make close ball control very, very difficult. 61 gone in the game, still 0-0. Apologies there, loss of sound there, and but meanwhile Brighton could have had a free kick there while we were off the air for a second or two. The interferences with the Weber has really played havoc with our systems as well. Romeo a little bit hard in there with that tackle, but still 0-0. You haven't missed anything. We've had 63 gone at the new Den, and still 0-0 between Millwall and Brighton. Millwall of the Championship and Brighton of the Premier League. And the ball forward again, looking towards Gregory. Gregory will win the next ball. Does really well, holds the ball up. Romeo wants it down the right, and he gets it down the right. Romeo does well, plays a good 1-2 there with Tunnicliffe. Ball forward, shot comes in from Williams, right-footed and well held by Matt Ryan. Really good effort there by young Williams. Good build up again down the right. The right hand flank is where Millwall have had so much joy. And again, good football again. Williams got the ball out of his feet, hit it true with his right foot. It just hit it too straight at the goalkeeper, who was able to make a good save and good handling as well in what will be very, very tough conditions now after all that downpour. And we had some 10-15 minutes ago. And I think it's still raining out there now still. On the field. So again, conditions will be tough, and it's greasy now on top, which makes conditions that little bit more trickier. But at the moment we've not had any inclinations of substitutions yet to bring you, and both teams still going for it, and they're going for the jugular. But when will the first manager be able to make a change? I'll run through the two benches for you in just a second. Now we will, because Martin can kick away. Millwall have got Amos McLaughlin, Meredith Hutchinson, Elliot Morrison, who can score goals, Steve Morrison, and Scalak. For Brighton, it's David Button, Bruno, Gitan Bong, Locadia, another striker, Izagiro, Sully March, who can cause havoc on the flanks, and Burn. But here come Millwall now, and here's a chance now. It's Gregory through. Gregory shoots. Good save by Matt Ryan in another corner. Went down to the left hand side, and what a good piece of goalkeeping. Looked for all the world as if it was going to be the first goal of the game. Gregory was just offside as the ball was played through, but he was given the benefit of doubt by the assistant on that near side. Lovely ball played through by Leonard, Just needed to keep his head, but Matt Ryan again spread himself almost like an eagle to get it away. And difficult conditions now here at the Den. It's still raining, by the way, as the ball comes in towards the back post, and a header won by Cooper, which goes wide on the right hand post and behind for a goal kick. And plenty of mud on his white shorts now, the big centre half, and you can tell how treacherous and tricky the boggy conditions really are now. 66 gone, it's 0-0 between Millwall and Brighton and Hove Albion. Well, he did well even to get the header in towards goal, just wide though from Cooper. And Yekenbach has now come off for Brighton, so the first change has been made by Chris Hughton, and young Solly March comes on, a very highly rated player, very impressive player. Still 1-0 to Liverpool, by the way, keeping the score down at 1, but it's looking like a lost cause for Scott Parker's men, really, as they look as if they're going to be going down along with possibly Huddersfield, who played not too far away at the London Stadium the other day, yesterday, and a 4-3 thriller in the Premier League. West Ham winning that 4-3. It was tough on Huddersfield, really, on the bounce away the game went. But at the moment it's still 0-0 here in a enthralling FA Cup quarter-final between Millwall and Brighton and Hove Albion at the new Den. 23 to play. Please, for the love of God, let's hope we don't have any extra time to be added on. The Sunday game coming to you live. And here's Solly March, first touch to see what he can do. And again, the tackle's flying in, and now should be a yellow card here. The referee's reaching for his back pocket. It was Montoya, and it was on, I think it might have been Ferguson. And the referee will want a word. Presumably it will be yellow, but conditions there. Glenn Murray having a little bit of a set to here. The yellow card is already out for Montoya, so he's going to be booked regardless of what protestations Glenn Murray has. Glenn Murray trying to state Montoya's case, but it was a dangerous tackle, and you can't really make him in very, very slutchy and very, very wet conditions like that. The referee was right. It's no good biting, arguing about it. It was a foul. It was a good... Well, did Montoya get the ball? No, he got none of the ball, but he got a lot of the man. And that had to be a yellow card offence. And I think Chris Kavanagh got it right. So Martin Montoya has now got to watch his step. It's 0-0 here as we come up towards 69 minutes of the game. Who's going to get the first goal? It's going to be also important. Here's number 7, Jed Wallace on the break. Still might come here for Millwall. They got another corner, and again the Coldwell Lane rip. The Coldwell Lane end rips up another atmospheric cheer and a roar. And this is really tough. This is going to be a tough old ask of Brighton now. Can Millwall make one of these set pieces play? They've got chances here. 2, 3, 4 in the area. Williams to take the corner from the far side. It's going to be left-footed. Pearce and Cooper both forward from the back, and it's in there towards Pearce, who gets the header in, and he scored from 6 yards out. And Millwall have scored an unbalanced play. Deserve it big time. The Coldwell Lane end goes absolutely wild with glee. 69.5 minutes gone. It's Millwall 1, Brighton and Hove Albion now, and it's Pearce, the centre-back, who scores for Neil Harris's men. No emotion from the manager, but the Coldwell Lane end sucked the ball into the back of the net. And Brighton, if they were in a battle before, they're in an even bigger battle before now. Free header into the left corner it went. Brilliant goal, brilliant set piece from Millwall. 20 minutes to go. Millwall 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. And really, Brighton have only themselves to blame. They got themselves in a complete utter mess at the back, and they did not pick up Pearce, the centre back. And as soon as I saw that corner came in, I mentally thought Wallace I firmly thought Pearce would get ahead on that, and he did, and he scored. Oh, now the Championship going to be represented in the semi-finals. The only Football League team left in this competition are Buildup and Brighton, who really haven't performed really to their maximum today. I'm now in trouble. But you've got to say, you can't argue with that. It was a great header. And Millwall deserve the lead. They have looked the more likely scorers over the piece, the 71 minutes that we've been playing. And what a header. And are we going to see another cup shot live on the JB Claret YouTube channel? Brighton are in trouble. Bidding to reach the semi-finals for the first time since 1983, they have to do it from behind. Pearce with the goal after 70 minutes. We've had 71.5 minutes. This is Kyle now to Solly Marsh, the substitute. He gets fouled there. Was it by Gregory? Yes, it was. Free kick. So, free kick for Brighton. They have to get back into this straight away. We needed a goal. We've got one. And it means that we don't have a 0-0 here today. Thank God. Well, I'm pleased from that score anyway. So, it's Knockout with the free kick. David Martin has performed brilliantly in that Millwall goal. We'll prepare to take it. Knockout has got a good set piece repertoire. It's on the left hand side. It will be left footed. Knockout sends the ball in towards the 6-yard area. The heads was in and it was headed wide in the end by Bernardo, and Murray was in there too. Came off a Brighton head, and Millwall survive with a goal kick, although Cooper did actually, well, some might have said penalty there if VAR had been introduced, but having said all that, Pearce went round the back unmarked, and I mean, look at that. I mean, Lewis Dunk, I mean, why isn't somebody like Lewis Dunk, an experienced campaigner, not picking him up there? That is just simple, basic defending, and you've got to say Millwall deserve it. Pearce is coming round the back. He's unmarked. He's untracked. Chris Hughton will be absolutely livid with his defence there for allowing a free header like that from young Pearce, number 15. It was a bullet header into the left-hand corner. It's got to be said. Well played. And the conditions were always, it wasn't going to be a pretty game. The Brighton changes have been made. Off comes Kayo and Knockout, and Izagero and Lacadia come on. So Hughton has to go for it. He's used all 3 of his changes now. You know, Harris is yet to use one yet for Millwall. It's all happening here now. Still 1-0 to Liverpool in the Premier League, incidentally. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. We've got a game on here. The Sunday game, the FA Cup quarter-final, the final one of the day. It's Millwall 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. And here's Lewis Dunk to get it back to Matt Ryan, but they've been asking for it really, Brighton, because they have just committed Harry Carey in the second half, and in the end they committed one Harry Carey error too many, and it was a terrific header from Pearce at the far post, and it was a great goal. 1-0 to Millwall. Brighton with it all to do. Can they do it now as the ball is threaded towards the far side? And it's Izagero now. Can he keep it in on that byline on the left hand side? He can. Looking for Glenn Murray. Murray heads it back. Solly Marsh will try a left footer shot, deflected and wide of the right hand post. It will be a corner. It's David Proper, in fact, who hit the shot. But now we've got a game on here now with a vengeance. Brighton looking to hit back straight away. If it stays the same now, it will be all over after 90 minutes. But if Brighton were to equalise and there was no further scoring, then we'd still have the extra half an hour. It's Solly March on the far side with the corner, and the wind and the rain is now taking its toll. Bit of pushing and shoving. Sean Massey, the assistant, telling him just to hold fire a second. And you can tell that the conditions now are so blustery. I'm just looking at the net in there as well, moving in the air. David Martin into a little bit of trouble, but he was fouled by 2 or 3 Brighton players in that 6-yard melee. Lewis Dunk was in there too, but Martin survives it. Went through a crowd of bodies, and yeah, was a check there by Lewis Dunk, so a free kick was the right decision by Rista Cabinet, who's done really well as the referee this afternoon. And what a game young David Martin's had. Coming in for Jordan Archer, and he's done superbly. Quarter of an hour away from the semi-finals near Harris's side. Well, if they were bringing a... Well, I'm sure he'll have a bronze statue named after him if he gets Millwall to the semi-finals here. Still 1-0 Liverpool, but Fulham have had a goal disallowed according to Russ Burnham. But it's still 1-0 here to Millwall. What a story here in the FA Cup. We've seen some terrific stories. Yesterday it was 1-0, of course, to... we saw Watford go through against a highly fancied Crystal Palace, albeit they lost Will Saha in the to injury before the game. That didn't help their chances. And then Manchester City fought back from the dead to take Swansea out of the competition, a game that I had the privilege of commentating on. And then yesterday, when Russ Burnham was the commentator, Manchester United went out to Wolverhampton Wanderers 2-1. And this afternoon we've got Millwall here on the cusp of greatness if they can just hold on in there. Mike Tyson's ghost says the Hove are getting battered round the wing. Well, the New Den Ring is certainly an hostile atmosphere, but it's making for a great cup tie this, and the Millwall fans absolutely loving every second of it, and why not? It's not every day your team are on the cusp of a semi-final. But here's David Proper. Can Brighton still save it? They've got 13 minutes to save the semi-final. Lacardia now out to the far side. Now then, can Brighton come up with something and fast as Aguero plays it in? Out comes Martin. Good decisive punch, and the foul was on the goalkeeper. Free kick to Millwall. David Martin again, another decisive punch. Not that it mattered in the grand scheme of things anyway, as the ball was played in. Now, was there an offside? In fact, it was an offside flag as Aguero played the ball in there, but the goalkeeper was very decisive anyway with his fist, punching the ball away to safety as Lacardia and Montoya were both battling in there. It was Montoya who was tagged offside, by the way, incidentally. Cooper took a blow as well for his troubles, but he's a brave man and a tough man, and he gets on with the game. Good to see in the days of highly pampered superstar footballers, and it's not like that in the Championship, you know. Here come Millwall again now, looking towards a goal, and a second goal which would seal the deal for them here. The shot was blocked, but here's Jed Wallace. They haven't made a change yet, Neil Harris's men, which is a credit to the way the team are performing. They're not giving in. A chance for a second. They've got a second goal. They've got a second goal. It's 2-0. Jed Wallace made it. And O'Brien came steaming in from 6 yards to tap it into the left-hand corner of the Brighton net. And surely now, barring accidents, Neil Harris's Millwall are in the FA Cup semi-finals. What a performance it has been from the men from Cold Blow Lane. They'll be singing and dancing and rejoicing down the old Cold Blow Lane end. It was a wonderful move. The shot was blocked, and it came to Jed Wallace, who has had a superb match on the right hand side. A bit of luck off the defender, it had to be said, but what a great cut back from the right hand side. And O'Brien, from no more than 6 yards out, flicks it in with the right foot into the left hand corner, and that should do it now with 10 minutes just over of the game to go. It's Millwall 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0, and surely now Brighton are left now needing 2 goals and masses of snookers to stay in this season's FA Cup competition. What a moment for young O'Brien. And as for Neil Harris, he'll go down as not just a legend and an icon. He'll be a cult status for him. A Millwall man through and through. He's had so much trials and tribulations. 2-0 to Millwall, and they've deserved it on the balance of play. But what a classic counter-attack that was from Millwall. A set-piece goal from the Lions put them ahead. And now O'Brien, after 79 minutes, has put the Lions on the verge of Wembley. The conditions have not helped, but as I said, bigger teams than Brighton have come to the new den and have come a cropper. Everton, Leicester, to name but two examples in recent years. And here Brighton needing snookers. Here's Solly March now. Can Brighton find a way back into this game? Here comes the cross from Bernardo. Into the area. Header won by Murray, but it's wide of the target. And behind for a goal kick. And it's not Brighton's day here today. You usually bank on the 35-year-old scoring here in the autumn of his professional career, and he's still banging them in the Premier League, but today it's just not going to be his day or Brighton's day. If it had been at the Amex, it might have been a totally different story. But having said all this, look at Millwall. They have played to a man. They've really got into it and got stuck in there, and they've played some really good quality football. And you've got to say the conditions were always going to favour Millwall in the second half, and the cold blow lane end has sucked the ball in a couple of times, but it's only Brighton that have let themselves down. Here's Romeo. He's had a terrific game, and most of the damage has been done down the right hand side. But Millwall, really, they've really done the damage there. Romeo and Jed Wallace have had superb matches on that right hand side. Now Solly March trying to do the same for Brighton. They need 2 goals and snookers, and all they get is a goal kick given against them. Solly March reckons it should be in the corner. One has sympathy with Brighton at this stage of proceedings, but it's not as if, I don't think there's going to be, I think the chances of a first semi-final since 1983 have been dashed, I'm afraid. And well, young and old, I've enjoyed today a terrific performance from Millwall, who are 2 goals clear. Just a reminder, anyone who's joined us late in the game, Millwall scored from a corner after 70 minutes, a header from 6 yards from a long corner taken by Williams by big centre half number 15 Pearce. Came in at the far post, headed it into the left corner. Scenes of pandemonium around the new den, and then just 3 minutes ago, and then 9 minutes later, a second goal. Jed Wallace cutting the ball back from the right hand byline, and in from 6 yards came O'Brien to tap into the empty net, again into the left hand corner, and to give Millwall a 2-goal buffer with 6 minutes for stoppage time to play. Proper now for Brighton, needing snookers at the moment. And I've got to say, Millwall have shown the more energy, they've shown more quality, and you wouldn't tell who was the Premier League side. And what about that for a catch from David Martin? I have to say he's had a superb match, and I'm going to give man in the match. You know what, it's a bit unprecedented. I know we haven't voted for man in the match today, but I'm going to give special mentions to David Martin, but I'm going to give the man in the match award to Jed Wallace. I think we're around about the 90th minute mark. You can vote for man in the match if you want, but I think Jed Wallace should get it for me, because he's played absolutely superb. Down the right hand side, he's caused Brighton no end of trouble on those flanks. 6+ stoppage time to go, and Brighton are a dead team walking now as number 3 Meredith comes on. And what a performance, and a standing ovation for the man who's going off. I've really enjoyed the way that Millwall have played today. Off comes O'Brien, on comes John Meredith. They've really performed as a squad, and Neil Harris, on absolutely no funds at all, has fashioned a cup fighting side. And they could stay. We've had a great week, Millwall. Win against Birmingham in the league, which is probably more important in terms of their league status. But even better than that, they've actually come here to the den today to play Brighton, a Premier League outfit, and absolutely outplayed them, really, in terms of the way that they played the game. There's been an equaliser at the Cottage, 1-1. 1-1 is the score. So yeah, we're going to give, I know we usually vote for this, but I'm going to give Jed Wallace the man in the match, because I think he's been head and shoulders the best player on the field. Yes, Pearce as well, centre back as well, has played really well. Jed Wallace is good. Well, it looks as if Jed Wallace will get the man in the match anyway. That does count as a vote, by the way, for man in the match. So I think there might be an overwhelming winner of that, to be honest with you. You can make more suggestions until the 90th minute mark, but I'm certain that Jed Wallace will be our man of the match, without a shadow of a doubt. He's played really well, and here he is on the ball now, trying to play it to the right hand side, and they're going to go in the corners here, Millwall. But they've really played. I mean, you've got to give credit. I mean, Jed Wallace will probably get the man of the match award from us, but you've got to give honourable mentions to goalkeeper David Martin. Real tough act to follow Jordan Archer as the regular goalkeeper, but my word, his handling has been superb. What he's had to do, he's done it superbly. He saved well from Kyle at the start of the second half. That superb one-handed save down away to his left. These are real heroes, and Wembley will be blessed with a champion. We're going to have a Football League representative unless Brighton score twice in 4 minutes to take the game into extra time. But to do that, they need to score twice, but at the moment they don't look like doing so. And at the moment, well, it's hard to tell who's going to get who in the draw, Panini, but the draw will be coming up after the game. But what a fantastic performance it has been from Millwall, and we're going to have a London club in the semi-finals as the shot comes in, and it'll come again, and away goes Leonard. He's had another superb game, and you can't overemphasise the job that Neil Harris has done at the club. And we saw them upset the odds against Everton. Free kick has been given. No, it's not. Mr. Kevin has played on. I have to say, can I just have a word or two about the referee today? I thought he, again, like the game at Manchester City yesterday, I thought the referee did really well in that one. And I have to say, Chris Kavanagh, the man in the middle from Manchester, has had a magnificent match. And he's got the big calls and the obvious calls completely and utterly spot on. Well done to the referee. But anyway, Lewis Dunk for Brighton, who are now needing 2 goals and a million snookers in 3.5 minutes plus stoppage time to stay in the FA Cup if they can. But Millwall are on course for famous victory here. Wembley beckons for the Lions, but here's Solly March trying to put something here for Brighton. Comes to Locadia in the penalty area, turns, twists and shoots and scores! Oh, maybe we've written them off too early. Brighton have pulled one back, and it's Locadia on the turn with his right foot who smacks it in past Martin, who had absolutely no chance. And now it's going to get interesting for the last couple of minutes here. It's all of a sudden Millwall 2, Brighton 1. Solly March and Locadia have made a little difference here. Turns, hitting on the left foot, and David Martin, who's played absolutely superbly today, just couldn't keep it out. And all of a sudden it's going to get a little bit hairy now for Millwall. And he almost saved it, to be fair, but the shot was hit with so much power. Yeah, it was just too good for Martin, unfortunately. And now Millwall will be quite relieved now that they got the second goal, but they must hang on in there now. It's going to get a little bit hairier now from now on in. Locadia for Brighton. It's 2-1 now to the Lions, and the long ball forward again, looking for Locadia. Martin does well, shepherds the ball behind for a goal kick, and Millwall now have just got to take their time within legal reasons, of course, legal means, of course. And take as much time as they dare possibly can. And Morrison is about to enter the fray. Another Millwall legend, Steve Morrison. And, well, if he was a legend before Neil Harris, he must be immortal at the New Den, as the trains and the tubes and all sorts come past this famous ground at Coldblow Lane in Bermondsey, and they have performed to a man. It's very unfortunate they've not been able to keep a clean sheet, really, Millwall, but they're enjoying their afternoon here. The sun is now finally shone again after we've had all sorts of weather conditions here. We've had sleet, snow, hail and rain, and Gregory, who's run his heart out, hasn't scored today, but it's like for like, and Steve Morrison is a goal-getter. We've seen that all through the years. We've got 4 added minutes to add to the excitement at the end, and the fourth official has shown that. So 4 added minutes to be added on. We're with 10 seconds into the first of 4. Here's Martin, beaten by just a fierce shot from Locadia a few seconds ago. Puts Brighton with half a chance. But they must hold out now, and I'm praying that we don't have extra time. It's a fantastic occasion here. Are Millwall about to enter FA Cup immortality, or is Neil Harris about to enter immortality? But wait, has Brighton got a chance in there? Oh, just for a moment I thought Millwall were going to get themselves in a tackle defensively. It's all Brighton in a moment. A penalty has been given at the Cottage to Liverpool. Rico has fouled Mane, so a penalty there. Ross will bring that to us as soon as we get a chance. A breaking play. The wall lifted in by Proper. Well taken! David Martin, take a bow. What a catch. Had to come for a real Krause to get that. And I have to tell you, the handling by the goalkeeper for Millwall has been exemplary. It's been amazing. He's had an amazing afternoon. Very unlucky to have a clean sheet against him. But one fleeting moment, looked as if Murray was going to tap in. The appeal handball, it actually came off the hip of the Millwall defender. We played almost halfway through the 4 minutes. We played 90 seconds of the 4. And James Milner has scored for Liverpool. They've got about 9 minutes to go in that league game. So as things stand, Liverpool are going top of the table, albeit City will have a game in hand. But the title plot thickens. The plot is thickening in this game. Millwall have lost just over 2 minutes to hang on in there, to keep Brighton out and to book their place in the semi-finals. It's 2-1 Millwall. We're now halfway through the 4 added minutes, and Brighton come again. Chance here, goal! And it was Aguero with a shot to the left of the goal with the left foot, and well taken by David Martin, who's had a fantastic match. Very unfortunate to be outsmarted for man of the match by the brilliant Jed Wallace, who's had a marvellous match. Millwall just 90 seconds away now. The Sunday game live. And we've had 4 dramatic ties. Regrettably, we couldn't do the Palace Watford one, but the other 3 that we've covered have been absolutely extraordinary. Charlie Brabham, enjoy tonight. Dancing down the Coldwell Lane end. You've deserved it on the day. Off comes our man in the match, Jed Wallace. On in his place comes number 4, Hutchinson. 1 minute of the 4 to go. Millwall can see Wembley. Neil Harris can sense immortality for life here at the new Den. A legend of a player in his playing days. He fought off testicular cancer brilliantly. A man who's got a complete brilliant sense of humour. A caring, passionate Millwall fan as well. Cares about this club passionately, and is now on the verge of immortality at the new Den. This is unbelievable stuff. 30 seconds for Brighton to stay in the FA Cup, but at the moment Millwall are not for budging. And a free kick has been given to Brighton. Brighton get the decision. Panini reckons it should have been a free kick to Millwall. I'm sure it's just his hatred of Brighton coming out there, but let's just see. Looking at a replay, yes, he's just taking out Sally March there. It was a little bit daft there from Ferguson, but Millwall have a little bit more defending to do. We have played the 4 minutes, but there will be time. I'm hearing for this free kick. Can Millwall just hold on in there? Neil Harris knows he's nearly there. The referee, the Millwall fans praying for the whistle. David, it's gone in! It's gone in! It's 2-2! I don't believe it! I just simply and utterly do not believe it! Solly March has equalised. The goalkeeper's made a mistake. And Millwall have been cruelly dealt a blow. Oh no! You feel so sorry for Millwall. You really do. And for poor David Martin, whose handling up until that point had been exceptional. The free kick was whipped in with sheer venom, and he let it go through his fingers. And Millwall, who were close to dancing down the old cold-blown lane tonight, are now in trouble. It's 2-2. And that is the cruel nature of football. And David Martin, who's had a magnificent match, has now made a mistake which
Oh, and he knows. And it's oh so cruel. It's all so cruel. And I'm afraid it's going to be extra time, and how Brighton have escaped, God only knows. They haven't deserved it over the piece, but they've got out. They've got there, and it looks as if we're going to have an extended extra time. But there was 4 minutes overplayed, and now the final score is ended 2-2, and I'm afraid we're going to have to give half an hour's more, folks. This really is. Oh, you feel so sorry. Millwall looked as if they booked it, and I said barring accidents, I may have put the curse on them a little bit there, but they deserved to go through on the balance. Extra time will be played, but what a second half it was. Millwall were 2 up through goals, through Pearce and through O'Brien, and it looked as if they were going to do enough to do it, and then all of a sudden and then 2 substitutes came combined. I had a terrific turn and shot on the right foot by left foot by Lacardia, put Brighton back in it, and then a Sully March free kick went right through the goalkeeper and into the back of the net, and now it's extra time, and we're going to take a couple of minutes break and we'll rejoin you for extra time. I need to get my breath back, but it's after 90 minutes. It's Millwall 2, Brighton 2, and extra time will be with you in a couple of minutes time. Welcome back to the Sunday game from the New Den, where 2-2 in the FA Cup quarter final, and how cruel football can be. Millwall were coasting deservedly towards victory, but all of a sudden a late twist of sad fate has beheld on a terrific goalkeeper, David Martin. The Jed Wallace will still be man of the match, but now without the likes of Jed Wallace on the field, now it's going to be a difficult second half, difficult half an hour's extra time, and it's the only tie that will go to extra time. So away we go then. 15 minutes either way. Just to remind you of the rules of extra time: if it's level after the extra half an hour, we've got 15 minutes either way, and we're underway. Millwall attacking the goal to our left, incidentally, where the Brighton fans are, and Brighton attacking the Coldblow Lane end. Very lucky to still be involved in this season's FA Cup, but it is 2-2, and the sun has come out. How Millwall will want the rain and the sleet to come back again, because they seem to thrive in those very tricky conditions. Poor Neil Harris, he was so close to a Wembley appearance, as a manager, and he almost got there. He's done a magnificent job, and it's so cruel. Sometimes football does deal in bad hands like that. Here's Lewis Dunk now defending for Brighton. Steve Morrison, no, he's on the field. He needs an ace marksman, and he has been in his time, into his second spell at the New Den. You feel for David Martin. It's very difficult, and having been a goalkeeper myself, I know what it feels. Not on a large scale, and his era would have been watched by tens of millions of people around the world. Poor David Martin. Ballmere taking a swerve. It is tricky out there. There's a greasy ball, and these footballs these days now really do swerve about in the air, and it really is an absolute crying shame that a goalkeeper who's performed really well like David Martin could be eligible for a mistake like that, and I'm afraid it's a goalkeeper's lot sometimes, and it's cruel luck on Millwall. It's so cruel because they thought they were at Wembley, and I'm sure they're all ready to party down Coldwell Lane tonight, but it still remains, so it's 2-2, and it's now, you have to say, Brighton are the team in the ascendancy now. How a cup tie can swing. It was cruel luck on Swansea yesterday when they were dealt a harsh blow with VAR, but Millwall have been dealt, unfortunately, the same fate. But now we've got extra time, but it's still retrievable for Millwall, unlike Swansea, because they lost to a late goal from 3 yards out. My VAR videos keep getting blocked worldwide. Anyway, it says Benini. Well, you've got half an hour's more commentary with me, JB. And enthralling, we've brought you 3 enthralling FA Cup games, and this will be the only one that goes to extra time. The other 3 were decided after 90 minutes. Montoya couldn't keep the ball in play on the near side. So just to remind you, 15 minutes each way, and if it's still level after 15, we will have penalties, and I'll explain penalties as we go along if we get that far. But here's Locadia. We've got the Brighton comeback trail on the way with that swivel, turn and shoot. Here's Aguero with the shot, and this time Martin handling it well at the near post this time as he shot from the left hand corner of the penalty area on the left hand side. There is Aguero. The full time, the playing stoppage time at Craven Cottage, where it's Fulham 1, Liverpool 2. So Liverpool, as things stand, will be going back to the top of the Premier League, albeit having played 1 game more than their title rivals Manchester City, and that plot really thickens now in the title race. The plot has really thickened, and so much, and it's swung, the pendulum has swung so unfortunately against Millwall here, who were great value for their 2-goal lead. And then Brighton, I don't know what Chris Hughton said in the aftermath of that second goal, but it sort of sparked them into life. But they haven't deserved to be on parity, really. And I just thought for one fleeting moment that Millwall were going to do it. And it's such a cruel twist of fate on St Patrick's Day that Millwall would have been down in the Guinness on Coldwell Lane and celebrating a victory that on balance would have been richly deserved. It still might be though. There's still plenty of time to go yet in extra time. 4 minutes gone of the extra half an hour, and remember it's 15 minutes each way. Once the 15 minutes is up, plus stoppage time of course, they will swap around very, very quickly, get on with the second half of the extra time, and if it's still level, we will have that penalty shootout to come. So we will play to a finish here this afternoon. Now throw-in to Millwall on the far side, won by Steve Morrison, who now takes over the captain's armband. Can Millwall come up again and do it again? He is a goal-getter, Steve Morrison. Scored loads of goals in his 2 spells at the club. Almost eclipsing this fella here, who sat on the bench, so close to immortality. Level with the edge of the Brighton penalty area. Throw will be taken in. Very, very long. The full-time whistle's gone at the ball is headed out. It will be tossed back in by number 4.
Hutchinson playing the ball in. Morrison on the turn. It'll come from Meredith on the edge of the area. Meredith shoots, good save, and Romeo hits the rebound over. Oh, what a glorious chance for Millwall to go back in the lead with 5.5 minutes of the extra period gone. Matt Ryan has saved Brighton there, good and proper. Ball lifted in by Hutchinson. Came to Morrison. Meredith got it out onto his left foot, hit a good shot low down, and the excitement of the cup just got to Marlon Romeo there. Just needed to take his time. He was unmarked, and I don't think he realised how much time he actually had to properly control it and hit the rebound back home. I don't think he realised how good a chance that really was. Neil Harris was sure that was going to be 3-2. Matt Ryan almost makes a hat-trick. Two Millwall players were closing on him like tigers, or like lions even. My goodness me, 6 minutes of this extra time gone and more drama. Crikey O'Reilly, you feel nervous not just for Millwall but for Brighton too. Well, this is what proper football is all about. My goodness, we had a toss-up whether to cover the game at the Cottage or a game here, and I'm so glad we've chosen this one now, because it's been frills and spills and all sorts. And Millwall are up in arms because Brighton have got a cheap free kick. I didn't think it was a free kick actually on the halfway line. But this is the beauty of cup tie football. I'm not a supporter of either of these two teams, but you feel nervous from both because there's so much up for grabs here. Place at Wembley, an opportunity potentially to go one for another trip to Wembley if you avoid Manchester City and Wolves. And I thought for one fleeting moment I thought they got seen out stoppage time. Here's Solly March with the free kick, whose equaliser's got Brighton in the game, and a chance here now for the Seagulls now to tame the Lions even. And here it's Montoya playing the ball in. It was a poor cross really by Montoya. It wasn't particularly high enough. Dale Stevens now, the linchpin in that midfield. Oh, that's a poor cross. It was a tire cross though, in fairness to Lewis Dunk, who's giving everything for the Brighton cause. Now Steve Morrison down the left, but he can't keep it in, and it's a throw into Brighton midway inside their own half. And Steve Morrison, who's a guy that does chase plenty of lost causes, certainly in his time as a Millwall player. We've had 8 minutes of the extra time. Remember, we're now halfway through that period. Remember, it's 15 minutes each way. Once the 15 minutes has elapsed at the New Den for the first period, plus stoppage time, they will swap round immediately. And if it's still level after the next 15, we will have a penalty shootout. But we're still a bit away from that, and I thought Millwall might have got in front a few moments ago when Meredith's shot was saved and it came to Romeo, and he just needed to touch it, control it, hit the shot, and it might have worked out a lot different for Millwall. Brighton fans very, very relieved and possibly quite fortunate that they're still in the FA Cup, but it looked as if they were in there. But sometimes you need the luck to bounce. It's 2-2 here. What a remarkable game of football. This is the true flavour of the FA Cup. Forget the other two ties that went before it yesterday. I said it had a tough act to follow. My goodness, the second half really had drama and everything in it. It's everything an FA Cup tie should have, all the added ingredients. Here is Montoya back in field once again to Lewis Dunk, or to rather Dale Stevens I should say, and here is Proper back inside to Stevens. Millwall just backing off a little bit, but they got two banks of four trying to put Brighton off. Solly March, who's really made the instant impact that Chris Hughton would have liked, and Lacardia too. And here is Montoya, low cross into the area. It wasn't a particularly good cross. Hutchinson got that away from Millwall. And now Brighton now asking some questions. And all of a sudden now it's all swung away. Montoya to take the throw. But how well they performed, Brighton, in coming from the dead. One, you've got to give them credit. It's tough luck on Millwall. It's so harsh on them because they were... certainly, when you look over the course of the 90 minutes that have just passed, they have been the far better team. But the question now that needs to be asked, how much sting is it taking out of Millwall in terms of stamina and durability? But it was a good finish by Lacardia to bring it back to 2-1 in the first place. But but what rotten luck on the free kick at the end. Poor old David Martin, who's had a superb game in truth, and he made some outstanding handling. His handling was outstanding, and maybe I take a little bit of the blame for actually saying his handling has been exemplary and all that, and then, well, such as a goalkeeper's life, he makes a mistake like that. And the poor kid, I mean, nice touch from Neil Harris during the break before extra time, patting him on the back. He said, "We're all with you, mate," and that probably boosted his confidence up a little bit more now. But here come Brighton now on the attack, looking to try and steal this advantage and steal a place in the semi-finals. 4 minutes of the first period of extra time to go. Millwall have missed the best opportunity of that first period. Brighton looking to steal away through themselves. Here's Bernardo now on the far side for Brighton, in towards Lancashire, still 2-2, great cup tie. Here's Stevens knocking it in there towards the far side, and Lancashire again was lurking, but he couldn't get there at the far post, and a goal kick it is to Millwall, which will be a fast relief to them, the team and their supporters. Chris Shooting will be a relief man. And you feel for the Millwall fans, you really do. They've really sung their hearts out, and it's always a nerve-ending business. There'll be a few nails bitten around the stadium, I'm certain about that. It's an absolute certainty. 3 minutes plus stoppage time to go in the first period of extra time, and well, we'll be coming off the air as soon as the penalties have been put away. I'm not sure if we'll have time enough for the draw, but we'll just have to wait and see. But we've been on the air now for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And my goodness, we've brought you 2 hours and 20 minutes so far of sheer excitement, and there's plenty more to come in the next 16, 17 minutes, plus maybe even penalties. Here's Lancashire now for Brighton, who are backing in at 2-2, crossing from the far side, better from Martin, good handling, and I think that little pat of acknowledgement from his manager at a full-time whistle to give him a little bit more encouragement, to give him a boost, I think that's done him a little bit of good there. And he kicks away. That was better from him. It was a good catch, and as I said, in the main, his handling has been absolutely superb, and then I think he's attempted to tip that over. Maybe he should have just tried to catch it or pat the ball down and then catch it the second time, I think. But it's wise. It's easy to be wise after the event, I suppose. Here come Brighton now, looking to try and make this advantage pay. This is Glenn Murray now. The ball over to the far side. This could be trouble for Millwall. Ball played out to the dangerous Solly March. March will shoot in the near post, but he hits the side netting. He wants a corner because he thinks it's ricocheted off Martin, and I think he's got the decision here, Solly March. And Brighton now going in for the kill, trying to tame the Lions. So a corner kick. Solly March to take once again. We've got about a minute of normal time at the end of the first period of extra time to go. Here's Solly March with the corner into the penalty area. Well taken by Martin. Got a good decisive hand on that and booted away by Hutchinson towards halfway. It was a terrific piece of goalkeeping there by goalkeeper David Martin, he's performed absolute heroics here. Just to remind you of our JB man in the match. We can't change the decision now, I'm afraid, but it's Jed Wallace of Millwall. He absolutely tore Brighton for about 86 minutes down the Millwall right. He had a superb match, but he's now off the field and he can't affect things now for the Lions. And it's Millwall, an offside flag given. Offside given. Well, the heavens have opened up again. I can see the rain coming down now in steroids. And at least the young kid will not realise he's only 2 or 3 years old. He's only a couple years old, so she won't know what actually has happened. But I'm sure her father will talk about the story of how close Millwall were to Wembley as the half-time whistle goes for extra time. So both teams now will have to swap round very swiftly. I think they might take on drinks here at this point. So Millwall come closest to going in front after Meredith's low drive was saved by Ryan diving away to his left. This was the goal again, the equaliser. It's cruel luck, really. He's tried to palm it over. Maybe he would have, if he'd have just tried to catch it there, David Martin. I think he did try to catch it, and the ball's gone in the net. And he realises from that moment, and he realises the ball's gone in the net. He could have conceivably left it, and I think it might have been drifting wide. And he knew straight away, heads and hands of every Millwall player at that precise moment. And this is where the managers now earn their money. David Martin was one of the most crestfallen men in that stadium at that precise moment when he went through his hands and into the net. It is unfortunately the goalkeeper's lot of life, really. I don't even know, can we have the comments please in English? But everyone who's enjoyed this tie today, what a fantastic thing. And I've just got to tell you, for the people that have tuned into our free cup ties today, this weekend it's been an absolute, I hope we've rewarded you with some great commentary, some dramatic commentary. Ryan making the save from Meredith, great volley from Hutchinson, well held up there by Morrison. Meredith hitting the left foot shot, and Romeo, I think he could have had a little bit more time to control that, because the Brighton defence was a little bit asleep there, so he just needed to just tap it and then hit the shot. But in the end, wasn't turn out to be. Both sides have now taken their lubrication on board, and now we go again. We probably have a rainbow now, knowing this weather down in Bermondsey. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. So we're underway again, second period, so 15 more minutes to go, and if there's no further scoring in that period, it will be a penalty shootout to decide who will go into the FA Cup semi-finals. But what a dramatic day it has been down in South London. It's been a marvellous game of football, and credit to all 22 players for making it a proper cup tie, really. But you've got to feel a lot of sympathy for Millwall. They were so close to Wembley. But here's Sonny March now for Brighton. Are they going to nick it? Well saved by David Martin and his near post as March cutting on the right. And Brighton incidentally attacking the goal to our left now, and Millwall to that cauldron that is the Cold Blow Lane end. Sucked the ball in a couple of times in that second half of normal time. And this really is, it's all Tenderlock stuff is, as the ball is hooked forward and a chase is on here now. My word, we've had a couple of real classics on this YouTube channel with Millwall in the cup. Tony Cliff felt he was fouled, but the referee said no, it's a goal kick to Brighton. Again, you'd have to say if the Millwall were to get us up play, that would be their best source of a goal. And we predicted that in the fourth round against Everton, and almost Ryan there getting into a tangle there. Millwall, I have to say, have been brilliant at trying to defend from the front and close the goal kicks down. But here's Aguero now for Brighton, but he's tagged offside. He's been tagged offside. Chris Cavani says, "You're not going any further, son." Free kick Millwall. Sean Massey there, straight out with the flag. So 2-2 it remains. We've played almost 2 minutes of the second period of extra time. 13 minutes to play. And he was offside. He was offside quite vehemently, and Sean Massey was very, very eagle-eyed there. It's a toss of the coin tie, this. I had the feeling it might be a toss of the coin tie yesterday when I didn't want to make any wild predictions on this, but it was always going to be nip and tuck, but it looked for so long as if Millwall were going to go through, and they deserved it on the balance of play. And it's a real tragedy for the goalkeeper, but at least he's done some good work in extra time so far. But she's kept Millwall in the game. That's the important thing to remember here. Here's Tunnicliffe now to number 12. Romeo plays it in. Morrison trying to control it. It was just a bit behind him, in fact. 2-2 it remains. Oh my goody aunt. We've had everything here. We've had the weather conditions. We've had sun, sleet, hail and rain. We've had controversy, mistakes. 4 dramatic goals, we've had the lot. And Millwall have still kept their fitness levels and they've still kept their intensity up, and that's a credit to their team and to Neil Harris. As the ball comes forward, the lovely play inside left. Well, Tunnicliffe looked as if he was going to cross it. Cross just coming from the right, not from Tunnicliffe though, but it was unfortunately straining the arms of goalkeeper Matt Ryan. You can't take your eyes off this for a second. It's so, you just want to sit there and just take all this in. This is the sort of cup tie this is the sort of cup tie that we dream about as a commentator, and it's the second half and extra time has ebbed and flowed in a very good way. Everton-Chelsea not far off kick-off, by the way. And, well, what a day it has been in the FA Cup. It's Aguero's inside the Millwall penalty area. Still, it remains 2-2. 18 minutes of extra time gone. It's Aguero to the right-hand side. Locadia is in there. Oh, he slipped at a vital moment, and Millwall were just about able to get there first and get it clear. And then the ball's thumped up towards Steve Morrison, who's trying to hold it up, but he's fouled his man. Oh, dear me. Bit of handbags at 10 paces there, but it's a free kick to Brighton, and, well, it looked all the while there as if Locadia was going to do it again. Pirouette, shoot, swivel and score. But he lost his footing at the crucial moment, and Millwall would be relieved about that. There was a few sharp intakes of breath in amongst the Millwall fans there at that present moment in time. Brighton still in the game and looking to win it. Oh, ball control on the left-hand side by Bernardo, and it's gone out of play, and that will please the Millwall fans immensely there, I would have thought. And, well, it's a shame really that the game's gone to extra time, because Millwall will go value for their 2-goal lead, and a lot of them want Brighton out, but you've got to give Brighton their fair dues. They've done really well, but Millwall so close to a deserved semi-final berth. They still could win it though. There's still 10 minutes to go in extra time. And as we saw in the last round against Everton, in the fourth round against Everton, that's not beyond the realms of possibility for Millwall, and it will make this goalkeeper Martin feel a lot better. But I've got to tell you, Millwall from the first minute to the last have been absolutely superb, and they've played with a real intensity, a real spirit about them, and a manager that doesn't have the resources of Chris Hughton, has the third lowest budget in the Championship, and he's Millwall Cup battlers and relegation strugglers, and they took a big step with a huge win against Millwall, against Birmingham on Wednesday night at St Andrews. Well, they looked as if they were making a huge stride towards Wembley, but not to be. We're 11 minutes plus stoppage time away from a penalty shootout, folks, unless a goal is scored in that time. This has been a remarkable cup tie brought to you here on the JB Clark YouTube channel. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable afternoon, and still a little bit to go here. We're here at the Den. It's 2-2. What a cup tie. What a cup tie it has been. And we really have enjoyed this, and Millwall have performed magnificently now. And whatever happens, the Millwall fans have to be proud of the effort and the endeavour that the team have really put into this tie. I have to tell you that I was off the air between the 90 minutes and extra time. Alan Shearer felt there was a foul in the build-up to the first goal. I actually think it was, you've got to say it was rank Brighton defending, but well, that can be argued blue in the face, what come may, but it doesn't matter. I never agree with Shearer on anything anyway, for obvious reasons, because I'm a Burnley fan and he played for the other lot, so me and Alan Shearer never agree on anything anyway. It remains 2-2 here at the New Den as Hutchinson tries to take control of the ball, but he's given away a free kick. Foul on Bernardo, taken quickly now is Aguero. Brighton, I don't think, wants a penalty shootout. They want to get out with a 3-2 extra time victory. I think that's what Chris Hughton wants from these lads at the moment. As Proper plays the ball in, can't find Locadia inside the penalty area. What a game this has been. It's been an absolute dream to commentate on. A great final between two sides that have really bottled and battled it out. It's been like high noon at the OK Corral. High noon. It's almost like Clint Eastwood shootout movie, this, a western. It's been an FA Cup spaghetti western, this. With plenty of incident, plenty of drama and dramatic goals. All four dramatic in their own unique way. 2-2 it remains. Can Millwall summon up the courage and try and go for a winning goal, or will they play for penalties? They are absolutely dead on their feet now, and Brighton, remember, they've got an extra substitute I think they can use, both teams. I'm not sure if they're aware of that rule, but as Brighton gone forward again, shot comes in, it's charged down. Oh my giddy aunt, we have a cup tie with a vengeance. And we're going to take a little break between, if we go to penalties, between the end of extra time and penalties, because there will be a few things that need to be sorted out before the penalty competition commences. But still a long way from that. Solly March plays the ball in, and just for one fleeting moment I thought Millwall were going to have it snatched away there, but Romeo got it away for the Lions, who have played well, not just like Lions but like Tigers, and like Tigers as well. They've put their bodies on the line. They've put so much energy and enthusiasm into this cup tie. They've had a terrific week league-wise with a crucial win at Birmingham, which eases their relegation fears in the Championship, which is probably the bigger picture really for Neil Harris, but he'll feel very gutted if they go on to lose this game, because they've been the better team. But here come Brighton. As the Premier League cost starting to tell all of a sudden. Questions needed to be answered in the next 6 minutes plus stoppage time. Here's Murray around the back on the right hand side, but it's taken easily by David Martin. We've got just over 5 minutes plus any injury time to go here at the New Den. Chris Hughton must be the coolest man in the Brighton camp at this moment in time. This has been an extraordinary cup tie with extraordinary drama. And only the FA Cup can produce that kind of drama. And this is why I'm a great advocate of the world's greatest cup competition. As I said to you after presenting the game last night at Molineux, who said the FA Cup was dead and buried? It's very much alive and kicking, and my words are proving to be a good omen here. As the ball is chipped into the penalty area, nodded out. Apologies for the loss of sound once again, but it's 2-2, 3 minutes to go, and you haven't missed any of the action at all. But Millwall have been a credit to the Sky Bet League, to the Football League, and well, whatever happens, they can be proud of their achievements today and in the cup run that's gone ever since. But at the moment it's still 2-2 with 2.5 minutes to go, and it's been a rip-roaring finish. Here come Brighton looking to win it now. Ball chipped into the penalty area. It's Ingero now for Brighton inside the Millwall penalty area. Here's Stevens to hit it. Good save by the goalkeeper. Hit it right footed there, Dale Stevens, and it was a terrific save
by David Martin, who's kept his team in the FA Cup. I'm running out of voice rapidly away. This has been one of the most remarkable cut ties of the season. We've covered some crackers over the weekend as Marsh gets the ball forward. Good header one there by Cooper. Did really well. Did absolutely superbly. Here come Millwall again with Romeo. And I think have Millwall had a man sent off? I'll have to check that out. But oh God, it's getting a bit petulant. It's Ferguson. Ferguson could well be going here. It's red. He lashed out at a Brighton player, and Neil Harris is livid. Millwall have completely lost their bearings. Ferguson has been sent off, and the plot thickens in this FA Cup quarter-final with a minute to go of extra time. What a stupid thing for young Ferguson to do, and the tragedy is he's had a fantastic match. Lewis Dunk was the man he taken out, but there was a little bit of petulance. Yes, he's gone after him there, and you can't do that, I'm afraid, and that's surely got to be a free match ban for violent conduct. One can understand his frustration, but you can't go around doing that, and he's shamed the club, I'm afraid. It's stupid. Absolutely stupid, and it means if they were going to need a penalty taker, the referee had no qualms straight away but to send him off, I'm afraid. And Millwall, whose day looked as if it was going to be a bright one, are now looking to hang on in there, and the ball is in the net, but the bag is up for offside. Lacadia's goal will not stand. Lacadia's goal will not stand. We're playing in a one additional minute at the end of the game. And definitely offside as the ball was played in. So we played a minute over the one, and that's it. It's going to finish 2-2, and we're going to have a penalty shootout to decide this quarter-final. And well, it's all down to the lottery of a penalty shootout. But I'm afraid Ferguson shamed himself, really. And the utter tragedy of it all is he played really well, and then he just does something as petulant as that. But Millwall have now the chance, and David Martin has the chance to really make amends. Goalkeepers, well, actually, Brighton could have actually scored a winner. That looked onside. Looking at it a second time, I think Brighton had been robbed there by a linesman's by Sean Massey's flag, but it was given offside. Kevin Friend, the fourth official, having a chat with the three other officials there, the two assistants, and Chris Kavanagh, the referee. Now, I'm sure Messrs Houghton and Harris will have a list of 5 penalty takers. Just to remind you of the rules of penalties: 5 penalties each. If it's level after 5, it's sudden death. So, for example, if it's 5-5 and Millwall went first and they missed, and then Brighton were to score the next, and then it would be Brighton who would go through on penalties. So this really is brilliant, and the viewing figures are shooting up. 91 of you now listening in, because you know how dramatic this game was. But for so long, Millwall were in complete control. The first goal was nodding in from a corner. The second from O'Brien was a superb run by Jed Wallace, our man in the match. Then Lacadia from a Sully Marsh cut back with a deflection on it, did well. Good pirouette, good turn, good goal. 2-1. Hello, CJ. And then the equaliser. Oh, that is just rotten luck for David Martin. Rotten luck at all. But that's the life of a goalkeeper, I'm afraid. Russ, I could honestly, hand on heart, could not tell you. I could not tell you, because it's a real toss of a coin. Penalties is a lottery, and it would be wrong of me at this point as the commentator to make wild predictions here. And this really is an absolute. I just couldn't call it now at this stage. Well, I'm a Burnley fan, CJ, by the way, hence the name JB Claret. But if you are new on the channel, be sure to like the channel. Press the notifications bell if you wouldn't mind, and you'll receive more content. Birdlegs Bail from the USA. Skip church to listen to the action. I have to sleep on the sofa this week. Well worth it. Thank you for putting this on. Thank you, Global News. So, yes, I'll subscribe, says CJ. Thank you very much indeed. You seem really cool. Well, I try to be anyway. Right, anyway, we've got to get on with the serious business now of penalties. Read a few of your comments. And I'm just wondering where the penalties are going to be taken, because yes, Global News is now subscribed. The penalties are going to be taken down the Brighton end of the ground, I'm told. Yes, it's going to be at the Brighton end, so Brighton will go first. It's going to be Glenn Murray to go first with this penalty. He'll be facing David Martin. Disco Dennis says I'm touch. So Brighton will go first. Remember, 5 penalties each. Statutory rules apply. If it's level after 5, it's sudden death until we find a winner. Glenn Murray will go first for Brighton at the left hand end of the ground. Right-footed, short run up, and hits the bar. He hits the crossbar. And Millwall have the advantage. Can they take the advantage? Glenn Murray, right foot, usually a surefire penalty scorer, did everything but he hit the crossbar. Poor penalty from his high standards. What an horrendous start for Brighton, and that will make David Martin feel an awful lot better about things. And it's going to be Williams first up for Millwall. David Martin offering prayers of encouragement to his colleague. Matt Ryan, a veteran of 2 World Cups for Australia, will face up to him. Left footed, shorty's run up. Can Ferguson? Oh, what a penalty! What a penalty from Williams into the left hand corner, and Millwall do take advantage and lead 1-0 after one penalty each. Ryan went away, went the right way, couldn't get there, went to his right as he looked. So the next penalty for Brighton, as Neil Harris looks on, looking to the heavens for inspiration, is Locadia, whose goal brought Brighton back into the game. Now can the goalkeeper make himself here? A shot run up, right-footed, scores into the left corner, 1-1. But Millwall do have that extra penalty in hand. Brighton have taken 2 penalties, Millwall just the one at this stage. And the next one to go for the Lions, it must be tense out there. It's Ryan Tunnicliffe. If he can score this, Millwall will still have the advantage after 2 penalties each. Remember, Glenn Murray hit the bar at the start. So Ryan Tunnicliffe, who's played really well, steps up, right-footed, scores again in the left-hand corner. And again, all the penalties that have gone in the left-hand corner. So 2-1 to Millwall. Advantage after 2 in the favour of the Championship side. Solly March next up for Brighton and Hove Albion. This really is tense. David Martin, that mistake, can he make amends in the most positive way? This really is edge of the seat stuff. I'm nervous in the commentary box. How are your nerves, folks at home? As Arch steps up, left-footed, scores down the middle. Mark just a tad to the right, but it went into the roof, and Brighton are levelled at 2-2. But significantly, Millwall have still got that penalty in hand. They've still to take their third, and it's going to be number 28 Leonard, who's going to take the next one for Millwall. Can they keep their advantage at 2-2 or 3-2? Shortest run up, right footed, into the net it goes, 3-2. Millwall have scored 3 out of 3 and keep their advantage. And the viewers are absolutely buzzing here. This is probably going to be our highest rating cup tie of the weekend. So David Martin will face up next again. 3 penalties each. Millwall shading it by 3 penalties to 2. And this is David Proper now for Brighton. Prayer's been offered at the Brighton end of the ground. Right footed. Steps up against Martin, who scores again in the left hand corner, and Martin dived to his right and almost got there. Very, very close as well. And he almost got there, but it's 3 apiece. But Brighton have significantly taken 4 of the penalties. Now can Millwall put their 4th one away to keep that advantage going? It might just come down to the 5th and final penalty. And it's Marlon Romeo who's going to take responsibility now. If he can put this one away, the pressure will be on the final kicker for Brighton. He must score to put pressure and to put Millwall on match point. He shoots. Oh, he's saved! It's saved by Ryan. He went towards the right. The goalkeeper dived to the left. And now it really is down to the final kickers. Matt Ryan guessed right, and his outstretched right leg did the rest. It was a super save. And now it comes to the next 2 may well be the key now. Dale Stevens. What responsibility now? Can David Martin emulate what Matt Ryan just did a second ago? Can the Championship side pull off the miracle? 4 penalties have been taken each, remember. 3-3. Dale Stevens. The longest run up, right footed against Martin, and he scores in the left hand corner. Now the pressure really is on Millwall because they have to score the next penalty. Let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. We've still got Millwall's 5th one to come. And Martin got hands again. Please don't call out before I've commentated on it, because Steve Morrison has to score now, has to score, otherwise Millwall are out. Right footed, and he scores. And we are now into sudden death. We're now into sudden death. The game is not over yet, folks. Stop predicting the scores. Let me commentate. But it's 4-4. So, sudden death. And it's the captain, Lewis Dunk, to take the penalty. What a performance this has been. Can David Martin save the penalty? Right footed, Lewis Dunk, short run up, scores again in the left corner. The left corner is proving popular with the penalty takers today. It's a good penalty. Now Millwall must score the next one, otherwise they will be out. Well, you can't be at home because it will be neutral territory, the semi-finals. It usually is. It's responding to a response now. So Cooper, who's played magnificently at centre-back, has to score. Otherwise, Millwall are out. Big responsibility this to save it. Oh, he's hit it over the bar, and it's cruel. Look on Millwall, and Brighton somehow have gone through. And how cruel, because Cooper played so well. He blazed it into the Brighton fans, and Chris Hughton's men are through, but not without a scare, I can tell you. Dramatic performance it was, and it looked for so long today that Millwall had done enough where they had a 2-goal margin with goals through Pearce with a header from a corner after 70 minutes, and then on 79 minutes O'Brien making it 2-0.
But then back came Brighton in the last 10 minutes. Lacardia pulling one back to make it a nervy finish. And then poor David Martin mishandling a free kick from Solly Marsh, which went straight through and in. Millwall did have chances in extra time, just couldn't finish it off, and in the penalties they were in charge for so long, but then 2 misses has sent Brighton through. We'll have the draw coming up in a second or two, but it's finished here in a dramatic game at the New Den. Millwall 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 2, and it's Brighton who go through to the vast disappointment of the crowd, 5-4 on penalties. But what a spirited performance Neil Harris's team really put up. And well, it's sometimes the way, that's the great cup football. It can be great to you 1 minute, but boy, can it be also cruel the next. And Brighton join Watford, they join Wolverhampton Wanderers and join Manchester City in the semi-finals. But let's sum it up. Millwall do get a bit of consolation because their player Jed Wallace does get man of the match, because he really was the best player on the day. Don't go anywhere, because we will have the draw for the semi-finals, and I'm certain you'll all want to know. Mark Chapman will be conducting the draw with Jimmy Floyd, Hasselbank and Leon Osborne in a second, but well, I'm sure Chris Shooton will be the most relieved man in Brighton right now. And let's hear from the winning captain, Lewis Dunk.
Well, it's crazy. We did it the hard way. We knew it was going to be hard coming here, and made it even tougher ourselves, 2-0 down, fighting back. But it's an amazing day, great day.
I mean, you were seconds away from going out, but how much character does it take to come back and score that last-minute goal as well?
Yeah, it shows what great character we've got. We've done it for 4 or 5 years now since the Scaffer's been here, so we never give up and we always fight, and it shows there that you can never give up and you get something out of it. So yeah, massive credit to all the boys that dug in, and you can hear that right now. It's Wembley to the fans, so it's massive.
On your way to Wembley, that must sound great in itself, right?
Yeah, that's what we knew. The prize was coming here, and luckily we got that prize. Now we're going to Wembley for semi-final. Wait for the draw and see who we get, and then you never know, we could be in the final in the FA Cup.
And as a local boy, that must be amazing. Anybody you want to avoid, or is it bring it on? Watford, Wolves, or City?
Obviously, whoever we get, we have to deal with, and we just make sure we watch the draw, see who we get, and then we prepare for it, and hopefully we win it and go through.
You're about to find out. Go and enjoy yourself with your teammates. Well done.
Well, Lewis Dunk, a relief captain, I'm sure. Well, I'm totally breathless, but it looked for so long after Glenn Murray's miss, it was as if Millwall just needed to keep their heads, and if they'd got that 5th one in, they would have won the game. As it happens, Glenn Murray's penalty wasn't gonna prove costly in the end, but you feel for Millwall. But I think they've still had a great week regardless. That win at Birmingham was probably, in terms of logically in league terms, was a big one for them, because if they didn't win that, then they would have been in bigger trouble. But they still a job to do in the Championship, and I think they'll be there with it now. The draw will be coming up very, very soon. In fact it'll be in probably about a minute or two's time, so stay tuned, folks. The draw will be with us very, very soon. We're just waiting to do the draw, but so we'll stick with you then. The same 3 questions have been asked very, very soon. It'll be probably less than 5 minutes, I would have thought, with the way the schedules are going, but we will get the draw, and the draw will be happening very, very soon, I can assure you of that. But the 4 teams in the hat, it'll be short and sweet anyway. All 4 teams will now play at Wembley for the right to be in the FA Cup final, and I think we can now go over to Mark Chapman, who's going to take you through that draw, and with him Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Leon Osman. But here are the 4 teams before we do go. Watford, who beat Crystal Palace by 2-1. Andre Gray scoring the winning goal to take the Hornets into the semi-finals. And the game we covered yesterday, Swansea were 2 up and coasted against Manchester City, and it looked as if the Swans were going to cause an upset, but back came City with 3 goals in half an hour to send them through to the semi-finals. And then at Molineux last night, a goal from Neves and a goal from Jota as well saw them through to the semi-finals. And then in a topsy-turvy game at the New Den today, Brighton looked dead and buried at 2-0 against Millwall. They came back with a bit of luck in extra time to force extra time, and then the penalty miss from Cooper saw them through into the hat. Now let's go with the Mark Chapman, who has Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Leon Osman with him for the draw for the semi-finals.
To the BBC Sports studios here in Salford. After an exciting quarter-final weekend, we are down to the final four, and to make this semi-final draw, delighted to say that Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Leon Osman are with us. Jimmy hit 127 Premier League goals for Leeds, Chelsea, Middlesbrough and Charlton, and he ended his career at Wembley with the Championship side Cardiff. Leon played all his career for Everton, 16 seasons in total. He hit over 50 goals for them, 433 appearances, and in 2009 he made the FA Cup final with the club. It has been a great quarter-final weekend, actually, hasn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, definitely, especially for Wolves, who expected them beating Man United, who was playing really well, and Swansea almost doing it, but Man City too strong.
So are we left with three clubs who, if they avoid Manchester City, will think they have a very good chance of getting to Wembley? Is that what it boils down to?
Yeah, you'd probably expect so. Manchester City are the standout team left in the competition. I think you think if you avoid them, it is an easier route to the final. But you know, even Swansea took them all the way to the wire yesterday. So if you do draw Manchester City at Wembley, you know, you'll still have hope.
Just the four numbers then to show you. Of course, Manchester City are ball number 1, Watford are number 2, Wolves after that win over Manchester United are 3, and Brighton, after putting Millwall out on penalties just a few moments ago, are number 4. Jimmy, you're in charge of the bag. If you'd just like to put the 4 balls into the bowl, that'd be great. And I can see that all 4 are in there, so that's a relief to start with. If you give them a little swirl round, then we will do the draw for the semi-finals. Yeah. Number 2, Watford are the first team out, semi-finalists for the 4th time this century.
Play number 3.
And Watford will play Wolves. Watford will play Wolves.
Number 1.
Which means it is Manchester City, still on for the quadruple.
Number 4.
Will take on the winners just a few moments ago, Brighton. So Watford against Wolves, Manchester City against Brighton. They are the semi-finals in this year's FA Cup, and they'll take place on the weekend of the 6th and the 7th of April at Wembley.
Thank you to Mark Chapman, and there are, just to confirm the draw then, it's Watford against Wolves and Manchester City taking on Brighton and Hove Albion. Well, it's not a foregone conclusion as Swansea almost found out, but it's a terrific draw. We'll try and get a little bit more reaction, I think. And Chris Hughton is waiting to talk to Gary Lineker now for his reaction on the draw.
And I think that was what you call a proper cup tie, and I didn't think we did well enough in the early part of the game. A very difficult place. These have a history in this cup competition, but it's about character, and I think at 2-0 down, with the thought of going out of the competition, we had a group of players that decided that they desperately wanted to stay in this cup competition, and sometimes that forces your issue a little bit. You know, you're 2-0 behind, you have to go for it, and you look for their moments, and of course we managed to get them.
I suppose in some ways you'll be happy that you got a bit of good fortune with the goalkeeping mistake in the 4th minute of injury time.
Well, we did. I mean, as soon as Solly's played the ball in, I think our initial reaction was one of disappointment because he's overhit the ball. but sometimes you need them moments, and we probably didn't craft out enough, didn't make it enough of them good moments that was going to turn the tide. But yeah, I think a little bit of fortune our way, but I think you've got to give our lads credit, because we had a lot of momentum up until that moment. We forced that momentum, and as I said, a group of players that desperately wanted to stay in this competition.
It is a tough place to come and play, of course, Chris. Were you confident going into that penalty shootout? You'd won 7 of the previous 8 that you'd had.
Well, yes, we was confident, but I suppose you're confident until you're not. And when we missed the first one, and their first one goes in, and the second one and the third one goes in, you're half thinking maybe this is not our day. And again, you just need that moment. But we certainly showed enough with the other penalty takers, and I think probably over the 90 minutes and the extra time, I think we were the team that I think showed more. So whether we deserved it or not, but sometimes you need them moments.
Had you been practicing penalties, Chris?
Yes, but not so much. We knew we was coming into it, and every round where potentially there was going to be penalties taken, then yes, it's the right way. So we were clear about who was going to take the penalties, and hopefully don't change their mind from what they'd done a couple of days ago.
I would imagine it wasn't necessarily the semi-final draw that you would have wanted.
No, and I don't think it's be any surprise that all 3 teams, apart from Man City, didn't want to draw Man City. But I think this is probably not the moment. At this moment, we are so pleased to go through. We are so pleased to get to a semi-final, and on any way that we think that we can't win a semi-final, then there's almost no point in going into it. We have an opportunity that we are up against this moment with Liverpool, the best team in the country, and a team that's going for four competitions. But on the day we have a chance, but we will have to get everything go our way.
Okay, Chris. Well, thanks for talking to us.
Well, there we are. That's Chris Hughton's view on things. Well, I'm not sure if we'll get a reaction from Neil Harris, but credit to Millwall. They played some really good football today. They went 2 goals up. Brighton, as well, at least Chris Hughton has alluded to. So Wolves and Watford, I think that will be a more evenly balanced contest. With all due respect to Brighton, I think it will be a tough old ask against Manchester City, with all due respect to them. But they were made to work hard by a Millwall side who never gave in, ran their hearts out, and it's so cruel that cup football goes that way. It looked as if Millwall were going to do it, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But a feature in that penalty shootout was the fact that the players had gone to the left hand side, and I'm surprised the goalkeepers didn't twig that really. And then the penalty, really, it was a case of poor old Cooper, who had a marvellous game as well. But Millwall do get a little consolation because Joe Wallace was JB MLTM, so he does pick up that reward, although it would be scant consolation to him. Millwall, you would think if they play like they did today, and Birmingham on Wednesday could stay up. It would be a miracle if Neil Harris could pull it off. Brighton have still got not saved themselves, but they've got a big game at Wembley, and they'll enjoy that occasion for what it's worth. I'm afraid we're out of time now, but I think, are we out of time? I'm not sure we are yet at the moment, but well, what a game, what a ridiculous thing. But the FA Cup is fantastic now, and Russ has come up with a great stat to finish actually. 209 goals in the FA Cup from the 3rd round onwards. That is some goal tally, that is for sure. Thank you very much, Silverwind XD. Thank you very much. I think that's about it. I think we've run out of time, so I've run out of voice, quite frankly. It's been a marvellous cup down in South London today. It looked for so long that Millwall were going to go through, but the cruelest deluxe befell on their goalkeeper David Martin. Extra time produced drama but no goals, and then the penalty missed by Cooper sent the Seagulls flying to Wembley for their first semi-final since 1983. Before I go, let's recap the semi-final draw. Watford against Wolves, Manchester City against Brighton, and the games to be played at Wembley on the 6th and 7th of April. But thank you very much to everybody that's tuned in. It's been remarkable. It's been a great 3 hours worth of live football on the JB Court YouTube channel. We've had 3 dramatic commentary games this weekend. So it's been a fantastic performance. Thank you for subscribing, everyone that's been new around this channel today. It's been a pleasure to have you. But well, it looked for so long, for 94 minutes it looked as if Millwall's name was in the hat for the semi-finals, but then the luck deserted them when it was crucial. The last kick of the game, Solly Marsh equalised with a bit of luck, and then Brighton held their nerve in the penalty shootout, and it's they who go through to Wembley. Thank you very much for all of you for tuning in this afternoon. It's been a pleasure. Liverpool won 2-1 at Fulham. Man City's 0-0, I believe, with Everton at the moment, but you can watch that as soon as we're off the air. But from me, JB, enjoy the rest of your evening. Tough luck on Millwall. They were brilliant, but Brighton had the lady hook on their side and are in the semi-finals. Remember, they play Manchester City and Wolves play Watford. For me, JB, on a magnificent, memorable afternoon which ended so tragically for Millwall, but delighted, but relief and joy for Brighton and Hove Albion. I hope you enjoyed the third round weekend. I certainly have. 3 great ties that we brought you, plus the Watford one which we couldn't do, but hey ho, it was brilliant. I enjoyed every minute of it. Hope you have enjoyed it as well. But for me, JB, I will enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye.